pull up on my YouTube as well to make sure that we're live. I believe we are live now, though.
Yes.
Hello. Maybe we'll give a couple minutes for people to show up in case they want to.
Okay.
But yeah, season 2, episode 4 just dropped on Wednesday, and we've all seen it. And I think the internet has had more than enough time to watch it, form their opinions on it. We also have today our special guest, the Fallout family, who came and very generously decided to join us to talk about some of his thoughts. Thanks for coming on.
Hi there. How are you?
I'm doing good. And of course, my co-host, Mysterious Stranger, as always.
Hello.
Very mysterious.
So, before we start, we've never had a Fallout family on. I'm sure most people who are in the Fallout fandom have at least heard of you, if not directly engaged with your content. If you want to give a kind of a breakdown of how you came to find Fallout and what kind of drew you to social media, now's the time.
Okay, so here's the funny thing. First of all, like I was just telling you guys before we started, I am 51. Okay, I've been video gaming my whole life. I started with the Atari 2600. Okay, so I've seen like the full sweep of gaming from Pong to Call of Duty 38, and around the late 90s, early 2000s when I was first getting into PC gaming, and I played every like CRPG that was out except for Fallout. I never played Fallout. And the reason why I never played Fallout was because I the box covers, the box art. In the late 90s, there were like all these stupid mech games. Mech Warrior, Mech this, Mech. It was all these robot battle games that were real popular then. And I saw the cover to Fallout, and I was like, "This looks like another dumb robot battle game." And I didn't play it. And it wasn't until Fallout 3 that I played in the Fallout world for the first time. And I really liked Fallout 3. There was definitely some things that hurt my brain while I was playing it the first time, especially your final confrontation with Colonel Autumn.
Right.
But I loved it. And I was like, well, I want to go back and play the others now. And then I played Fallout 1 and I was like, oh my God, what was I thinking? This is just like all the games that I used to love at that time. Planescape Torment, Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale. Like I played the hell out of those games. And Fallout 1 and 2, I was like, oh, these are exactly like those games. And come to find out, they're all made by the same people. And I felt like a big idiot because I dismissed those games just by the box cover.
Right.
And then Fallout New Vegas came out and everything just sort of gelled for me. It was like it was the best of 1 and 2 with the new perspective brought by Fallout 3. And New Vegas just to me just continues to get better and better over time. I say it's like playing a novel, like the great American novel of video games. I have played it more times than any other game. Fallout 4 came out, and it was fine. It was kind of like
different. It was definitely different.
Yeah, it was kind of like Fallout 3, but dumbed down.
Yeah, it was a different. It's like it was like a survival crafting game that didn't have quite as many survival components as it maybe should have had on its launch, and I think it tried too hard to keep incorporating the role playing elements, even though that's just not the game they wanted to make at that time. It seemed.
No, it pretty much walked back to. I mean, I could see the Mass Effect influence on the game, like immediately from the
100%. Just the dialogue wheel.
Yeah, and having the voice character that already kind of has a background, and the stripped back role playing. Even though Mass Effect had some fairly decent role playing, especially like 1 and 2. So Fallout 4, I didn't love that much, but it did kind of get me into Fallout cosplay because I did like, and I still do. I still love a lot of the designs
The
from
artwork for
Fallout
that
4.
game, I personally don't enjoy Fallout 4 as much as I do New Vegas and 3 because I prefer the role playing element of Fallout.
Yeah.
But the exploration and crafting and artwork of that game were done really well. And yeah, like you said, the designs for that game are some of the best in the franchise.
Yeah, and back then in was it 2015 when that came out, I had like a big beard. I was a big bearded guy. So I was like, I should do Elder Maxon because like I kind of look like that.
Oh, that's sweet.
So that was my foray into Fallout cosplay. My very first one was Elder Maxon, and then I just went from there. After that, New
Mhm.
Vegas stuff, Powder Ganger, Joshua Graham, Randall Clark. I have so many cosplays now; it's ridiculous. And so we would do photos of the cosplays. We would do convention meetups. But then COVID came along, and conventions were kind of canceled, and meetups were kind of canceled. And it was like, well, now what do we do? And we started experimenting with, doing more video. And that eventually, you know, evolved into doing a short form series, The Courier and the Sole Survivor, which we just finished doing our season 2 at the end of, towards the end of last year. And we are gearing up to do season 3. So
That's awesome. That's cool.
yeah,
Hell yeah, man.
So yeah, it started with Fallout 3, but I definitely took the long way around back to the Interplay games, and I love them, and I've played them various times. I know people find that UI difficult to deal with, but I was already kind of familiar with it from just playing those games back in the day, so it didn't bother me as much going to that top down perspective.
Right. I had a very funnily enough, I pretty much had the same kind of experience that you did. I was born in 2000, so I didn't have
Yikes!
the growing up with CRPG stuff.
You're just a little bit older than my son.
So, um, my first introduction was God, I must have been about 12 years old. It was probably 4 years after Fallout 3 came out. My friend had it, and I he let me borrow it because my dad had let me play on his Xbox 360. So my friend let me borrow it, and at this point, I had tons of time on my hands. It was like a summer, and I sat down. I played Fallout 3, and I was like a little stupid 12-year-old kid. I had no idea how to play the game. Like I was walking around with like 5 HP because I didn't know what Stimpaks were. I had 5 HP, a pool cue, and a dream to find power armor, and that was it. That was my Fallout 3 experience. And I eventually was like, I'm just gonna play Call of Duty because my character's not healing. I figured my health would go back over time because in my mind
Yeah.
there was just one way of doing video games, and it was COD. So
Right.
I was for years, I shouldn't say years, for about a year, I probably forgot about it. I was probably 10 or 11 at the time. And I don't know how, but I came into a stack of Game Informers, and one of them had New Vegas in it. And I remember flipping to that page and seeing the Ranger with the duster and the armor and the helmet and like the red sky. And I looked at it and I was like, that looks awesome. And I spent the better half of a year trying, like, begging my mom to be like, I gotta play this. I gotta play this. She was like, you barely even played the last one. And my parents were divorced at the time, and my mom was, she was doing her best. So it was when she found out that she could get it for $20, it was like, okay, fine, you can have New Vegas. So
You can have a Fallout.
yeah, so I got Fallout New Vegas, and that entire summer, this was between 6th and 7th grade for me. So I was very young, and I spent that entire summer playing New Vegas pretty much every day from like the moment I woke up to when my mom would come home from work and be like, "Okay, it's time to start getting ready for bed." I would play it all day, and I was just blown away by how big that world was because it was my first experience with an open world game that like I realized I could do other things. Like it wasn't like a linear story like other games I had played. And
Right.
so years went by, Fallout 4 came out. I had a similar Dark Souls 3 had also just come out around the same time. So I got Fallout 4 and I went to play it. It didn't feel the same. It was weird. So I ended up, after I think maybe like 10 hours, I just brought it back to GameStop and I traded it for Dark Souls 3. And it was years before I tried Fallout 4 again because I just kept playing New Vegas. But when I did, I realized I was like, oh, this is actually fun. And I like the crafting. And by then they had mods for console because I didn't have a PC at the time. So I was playing, I was just like changed the whole wasteland in Fallout 4 to be like the Mojave wasteland with like desert and like random little pockets of like destroyed trees and shit. And, I liked it, but eventually I did go back and I tried Fallout 1 and 2 and I was like, fuck, these games really are awesome. Like these, and I'm still playing Fallout 1 to this day. Occasionally I'll boot it up and like, I it's probably honestly like I think I might actually enjoy the story and like the freedom to explore Fallout 1 more than um Fallout New Vegas. It is genuinely such like I know Tim Kaine talks about like systemic experiences in games versus like scripted experiences. That is a game where like I understand what he meant by you just play the game and whatever solution you find to a problem just works. You don't have to, find some scripted solution. You just do something and see if it works, and that was awesome. So Fallout 2, I tried that. The tutorial area definitely. I wanted to play like a guns character, and I was like on the tutorial. I was like, oh my god, everything in here is like a fucking knife spear.
Yeah, you gotta do throw.
Yeah, so I was like, fuck.
That tutorial is awful.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get through that one, but yeah, Fallout 1 is a phenomenal game.
When you finish Fallout 2, you really do see the strong connection it has with New Vegas. They feel of a kind.
Yeah. I'm still getting there, but I know how I've seen the ending. It's like, yeah, that is like New Vegas is like a love letter to those old games.
Absolutely.
And it's nice because New Vegas makes those two into like a trilogy, which is in my opinion a really optimistic trilogy about the human condition. To be like, the old world was full of like corruption and sin and death, and it was horrible, and they all killed themselves. But the remnants of humanity came back, and despite all the odds, managed to build something. Maybe not, as advanced as it was before, but maybe still better than it was before, and they survived. And by Fallout New Vegas, like you're literally deciding the direction that civilization will head in.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I like about those games too, is they're ultimately hopeful.
Yeah, they're really dark, they're really gritty, they're full of dark humor, but they're optimistic, and I think that's what makes them skirt the line between just like shitty edgelord kind of like garbage, where it's like you can tell that the writer or the writers who made that or the developers kind of weren't trying very hard. They were just like, let's make an edgy, dark game for teens.
Yeah.
Whereas this one's like, no, there's a message there. Regardless of what they intended to do with Fallout 1 when they first made it, those three games together put forth a really optimistic message that, it was powerful to me, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now, is because of how those games spoke to me. Mysterious Stranger,
hello.
What about you? How did you find Fallout? How did you get into it?
Oh, here we go. So I was born in 2006. Okay,
younger than my son.
So I missed everything of Fallout 3 and New Vegas. So I grew up on Fallout 4. So that's already my favorite game because I was 9 when I got it for Christmas, but I was too scared to fight the Deathclaw.
At the museum?
Yeah, so I'd made my dad do it, and but I refused to go past Concord. I would just stay there, and I'd go back to the vault, and that's it. That's all I'd do. And that was for about a year.
With the rad roaches.
I just make a new game, to go back and forwards. That's all I do. And I had New Vegas for the PS3, but as we all know, the PS3 could barely run it.
Yeah.
It was horrible. So
Yes.
I barely even touched it. And so I remember I saw the trailer for Nuka World about a year after the game came out, and I was hooked again. I was like, this is insane. So I started watching lore videos, which is where my whole personality around the mysterious stranger came from. Because the idea behind who my account is I was going to tell stories like lore videos and stuff like that. But then I started collecting stuff. I started like, without even asking, for Christmas, I could start getting like Fallout merch. I got the Pip-Boy in the Power Armor helmet, which we all know how that went with the helmet.
Is that the one with the mold?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the bag too. Everybody,
that bag was
the
horrible.
nylon bag.
Oh, right.
I remember we had to sign up to get a new bag, and then they leaked all our information.
Oh, right.
Yeah, man. 76 was a crapshoot.
That
for them.
rollout was pretty poor, huh?
I think 76 might have been the game to do in Bethesda's like reputation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I think Fallout 4 was actually what did it.
Yeah.
I think
it got
was like,
a lot of praise from game publications when it came out, but I felt the fans kind of turning against it about
Very
like a
quickly.
year later.
Yeah.
And Fallout 76 was just a ripe target for them to take out their frustration on.
Yeah. Fallout 4, I think, was like the start of a great fall.
Yeah.
And 76 was like the tipping point.
76 was going to have to be the best game ever to survive the blowback that had been built up from Fallout 4.
Yeah, especially after the things that
it wasn't.
Pegalurillo had said about like why Fallout 4 was the way it was, where he said like, you know, you want to write the great American novel, but players are going to tear the pages out and throw paper airplanes. So why try?
Right.
I didn't mean to cut you off, stranger. If you want to,
don't worry about it.
And I'm not trying to say like your experience with Fallout is inferior to mine. Just Fallout 4 is a different game, but the things that it did right, I think it did really well. So
yeah.
So I would just watch videos because once again I was too scared to actually play the game because I remember watching the trailer. I'd watch the trailers like religiously, like every day. And there's a scene where it's in the super duper mart with the ghouls, and I was like, no, I'm all right. I'm not going anywhere outside my safe zone. And so when lockdown hit, like people like Oxhorn and other creators like that, they just rolled out so many videos, and I watched every single one multiple times. I wasted my entire 2020 watching Fallout videos, and during this time they added mods to console, and so I started settlement building. I started making everything NCR based. I didn't really know anything about the NCR other than by watching like the storyteller videos and stuff like that. So around this point
real
as
one,
well,
by the way, I know he was a cool guy, and he did his lore videos. Same thing. I got into Fallout lore, especially because of him, because that was how I learned about Fallout 1 and 2 was from the storyteller talking about Mariposa Military Base and the Master, and I was like, and like Frank Horrigan, and I was like, this shit sounds awesome. How do I play this? And it's like, yeah, they're CRPGs from the 90s. I was like, fuck, damn it.
And where was I? Oh yeah, so around this point, New Vegas got added to get Xbox Game Pass for the first time because I don't remember why. It wasn't the Bethesda deal because that was way afterwards. But that's the first time I played it, and I was hooked.
That might have been when Microsoft acquired Obsidian.
Yeah, that sounds more right. And that I couldn't get into it as much as I could Fallout 4 because the gameplay difference was massive.
It's not a shooter, you know.
Right. Fallout 4 is definitely like an action adventure shooter.
Yeah.
And Fallout New Vegas is just like
it's
hardline
RPG
game
at its
with
heart.
some shooter elements.
Yeah. So I like the opposite experience that you lot did. I came in at a point where I didn't I wasn't in the fandom. I knew nothing about the fandom other than watching these lore videos. I wasn't a part of anything. I didn't know that Fallout 4 was. People had their opinions about this. The first time I got into it was when I played 76, the beta of it, and it was, oh yeah, I can't even put words into it. It was interesting to play the beta. But
I played it as well. I was there. I remember.
It was
yeah.
And I'd like, especially when Christmas came around, I'd look at the power armor helmet and I'd be like, "What have they done to you? What has happened?" And
look how they massacred my boy.
Yeah.
And I tried so hard to enjoy 76. I really enjoy it now. I think it's one of. I think at some point recently it became my number one like favorite Fallout because
they've done a lot of work
to
improve it over the years.
The stories they tell in it, because when I play Fallout games, I don't really care for the gameplay. I care about the exploration. I care about the storytelling. So like DLCs like Far Harbor, Honest Hearts, that grabbed me in. That was like I got pulled out my seat basically when I like learned about what's going on in them.
Yeah,
learn about Joshua Graham. Oh my, I'm still obsessed with him to this day.
Yeah, Graham is definitely one of their better characters that they've ever done.
Yeah,
I mean,
and you know what? Like we've all had different experiences, and especially Mysterious Stranger, basically having the inverse introduction to the series, where he came in. You know, you came in with more of the action adventure elements being forefront, and the role playing kind of taking a back seat, whereas you know, we were introduced in the opposite way, where action adventure was like maybe the genre that they used to kind of fit these in, but they were RPGs at their core. But ultimately, I'll give Bethesda some credit because number one, if it weren't for them, Fallout would be like a forgotten time, something that died when CRPGs went out of style and forgotten about. But instead, you know, here we are sitting on YouTube in a live stream, and we're talking about Amazon Prime making a show about this game from the 90s because Bethesda came and resurrected it and somehow managed to make it good enough that all of us are here, who have dedicated a decent chunk of, if not just our lives to it, our free time.
Yeah.
And it's attracted a whole new audience of people too. I mean,
enormous audience. Yeah.
Just people that aren't even into gaming, that aren't playing the games at all. I'm also in the 501st Legion, the Star Wars cosplaying group.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a lot of friends in the Legion that are now doing Fallout cosplay simply because of the show. They've never played a game in their lives.
Right.
But so yeah, it's spreading outside of even the gaming community.
And that's kind of the nature of how Fallout has grown too, because you had Fallout 1 and 2, which were very niche computer games, and even at the time
they were niche, but if they were a PC gamer, you knew about Fallout 1.
You knew about them.
They were at the top of every list of best games of all time.
Even then, I think I remember Tim Kaine saying like they weren't great, like they were rave reviews and people loved them, but they for some reason didn't sell super well compared to other titles that came out.
PC gaming was very small in the 90s compared to even how it is now.
Well, now it's huge.
Well, a lot of that's thanks to Steam.
Right. Yeah, Valve has done a lot for that.
But it was very much more of a hobbyist market back in the 90s. And if a game sold 100,000 copies, it was a runaway success, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas now on console, if you don't sell 10 million, you're a failure.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The publisher will be pissed if you're not getting at least. Yeah.
And that's what I was kind of, when we were talking about Interplay and Brotherhood of Steel, like that was them trying to bust into the console market because they knew that's where things were going.
And they just couldn't get in there.
No, Brotherhood of Steel was like an inept game. So,
right. I know, like, you know, a lot of us discovered Fallout through Fallout 3 and New Vegas, respectively. And then, you know, Fallout kind of came back into the maybe not pop culture, but like maybe nerd culture is a good way to put it. It was like it was back, and then Fallout 4 put it in the mainstream. And now it's like Fallout is just a household name now. It's like everybody knows what Fallout is. And
yeah, I mean, you had Conan
even
O'Brien
when I was a
wearing
kid, I couldn't have
suit.
imagined that. Yeah. 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 I mean, blue and yellow now, it's like that. Those are Fallout colors, which is crazy. I think we've spent about a half hour going over our past, our history with Fallout, and why maybe we love this series so much. So let's talk about episode 4, because that's what a lot of people are going to come in here for. So let's get into it.
Let's get it on.
So let me share my screen here. We'll start with the opening to the episode. Let me open it up. Find my gallery. Here we go. And add to stage. So we open up and we finally get to see, in Fallout 3, we had Operation Anchorage, which was sort of kind of like an homage to I think, was Anchorage? I don't know if Anchorage was originally in the Fallout lore, but I know Fallout 3 did a lot with Anchorage, and then the DLC came out, and people had a curiosity about it for a long time because it was always just kind of a story that was told. But we finally got to see it in live action, and at least this portion of it with Cooper and Charlie White Knife, whom we were introduced to in season 1, kind of, and then he's become a more important character in season 2 to kind of revealing the real character of who the Ghoul is, who Cooper is, and showing us the depth to the character that he has. It seems like the mission that they're sent on, there's a team called Raider 3. Raider 3 is surrounded on all sides by communist forces closing in on these guys. I think they said the name was White Horse is their unit name. They were sent to find and locate them, but they were unable to at this point. And one of the things that we see is we get to see how bad the T-45 power armor was. And it's kind of a miracle that they won this battle, considering that it's like, this armor looks like shit. Like, I knew T-45D was supposed to be like, the bottom of the barrel power armor. Like, it was the first, full production unit, but the show made it out to be like the worst garbage that like the military had ever put out. Aside from the way it operated or its relative success, the way it was realized here in live action looks awesome. I think they did a great job capturing it, especially the helmet, because T-60 and T-45 have really similar helmets.
Yeah.
And I almost expected them to just reuse the T-60 helmet to save on it, but it looks like they made the T-45D armor helmet, which was awesome. He tells them to go back after they tell him, Cooper asks if they can turn back because they can't find him, and they say no, but he tells Charlie to go back anyways, probably because his armor's all malfunctioning. And he gets caught off guard by some communist forces after he sees something moving around in the wreckage of that vertibird. And as he's kind of taken off, we get these Chinese soldiers, and they're one of them. I think her name is supposed to be Wei Jing, as how the character is credited. I think Wei Jing is commenting on. It was a weird kind of monologue about the nature of the war that they were having. It felt a little bit out of place, but we get our first look at the Deathclaw, and I think they did an awesome job realizing this thing, at least the Fallout 4 version of it. And we've talked about in the pre-show, we kind of talked about how it's evolved over the years.
It looks like Satan.
Yeah, it really does look like the devil. And this stance here, the specific stance that we see, it kind of reminded me of this guy, the maquette, where he's standing on tunes. He's just got his arms there, and he looks kind of goofy there. But I was like, I kind of wonder when I was looking at it, like, were they trying to mimic
that
pose? Yeah.
It's close enough.
It is. maybe it is an intentional
It's close
homage,
enough
but
that they can say it was intentional, even if it wasn't.
yeah, which I'm sure if somebody points it out to them enough that they'll probably go, oh yeah,
I
of
meant to do
course,
that.
yeah, because we're real Fallout fans, you know, we like the deep cut.
Yeah.
So Cooper is sitting in the snow, and he's kind of like, come on. Cooper's sitting in the snow, and as he sees this Deathclaw tear him apart, and he gets word from the sounds like the high command, and they're telling him, you know, hey, we won the battle, nice work, and he's like, no, we did not win the battle. That thing won the battle for us, and I think that's our hint that officially, kind of our almost like official lore drop that Operation Anchorage was won not by the USMC or Power Armor, but by Deathclaws. And so once we get that little preview, which I think is to establish at the end of the episode kind of Cooper's reaction to these things.
Yeah.
We see Maximus and Thaddeus. We get back to this right where we left off, and the Brotherhood of Steel are coming for him. They know that Thaddeus and Xander, Harkness, and Maximus left. In episode 3, right at the end, Maximus kills Xander because he's about to kill all these kids for being ghouls. And he basically convinces Thaddeus to go with him, because if he doesn't, they'll probably just murder all the children anyways. So he should just go with him. And so he does. And one of the things, you can't really... speech bubbles in the way. Come on. Let me... there. Okay, barely. There we go. Let me take us off the screen real fast here. Last episode, we spent about a half hour at the end talking about Novak and the way that it was adapted. And when I was like, yeah, it's weird. They didn't really get any of the style right for Novak. Fast forward an episode, they're leaving the Sunset Sarsaparilla factory. That's fucking Novak. That's exactly how Novak looks. It's got the corrugated roof for the office. It's got the little stand there. It's got the 2-level motel with the roof. I was like, I saw it. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And it's not even supposed to be Novak, because Novak doesn't have a Sunset Sarsaparilla bottling plant across the street.
Right.
What the fuck? So they could make it. They made one with CG or practical. They made one, and they...
It seems like the derelict hotel that they shot it at had the pool already and the motel style set up. I think they just added some CGI elements around it, but kept the original structure. I used to drive past that place all the time on the way to Vegas. It's gone now. They tore it down after the show was shot there, but they have a CGI budget, but it's at the end of the day, this is a TV show. It's not a movie. So the budget's not unlimited. They got to kind of pick and choose their battles. I kind of forgave a lot of that Novak stuff. I know people got bent out of shape about the dinosaur facing the wrong way.
To me, the dinosaur facing the wrong way is like probably the most understandable thing of the changes that they make. It's like, I could totally see, like, if the Khans or slavers took over that place, why wouldn't you turn it around to look inside the pen? Like, if you're keeping something inside of Novak, you're going to want to watch it, especially if the Legion's not a threat anymore to the east. Like, who cares about watching the road? So whenever I hear people scream...
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, whenever I hear people crying about the dinosaur, I'm like, the dinosaur makes sense. If there's anything to be mad about, I would think it would be the fact that, like, the highway is gone, or the road to Repcon is gone, or that the, like, town is, like, shifted, or anything like that. It's to me, it's like there's weirdness about that, but the dinosaur, to me, that makes the most sense.
Well, a lot of the geography of this season has been confusing to me.
So confusing.
Not sure where they're going, which way they're taking,
where they've been, because they keep going between, like, they were at Novak, and then they were, like, on the outskirts of Vegas, and then they were at some hospital, and then Fortification Hill, and then Camp Golf, and they've been all over the place.
I mean, we assume it's Fortification Hill. It might not be.
That's true. We're making an assumption that it's Fortification Hill. You're 100% right.
Also, like the Sunset sarsaparilla bottling plant, like a lot of people were like, "Hey, it's the plant from the game," and I was like, I mean, it could be,
so.
It could be, but if the events of the game play out, the Sunset bottling, the plant in the game doesn't have a working cap maker anymore, and the whole thing is they were there pulling caps off of bottles,
right.
So it doesn't that couldn't be the same one if
and also, like, if you look here, that bottling plant is in Las Vegas. It's literally just like maybe a mile out to the west. This is clearly a pretty decent, maybe not like super far away, considering that you can still see this, the silhouette, the skyline of Vegas pretty well, but it's obviously not within the city limits of Las Vegas.
Yeah, it's further out. So I just assumed it was a different plant altogether.
Same. Yeah. The geography, because in last episode 2, we can see Helios 1 from the vertibird where they're going. And so I'm like, well, it's clearly not Novak. That's like this here is obviously not supposed to be Novak. And I'm assuming this is a place that's not in the game.
Or it could just, I mean, they have like other motels in the game that are just, derelict, and they don't have a fast travel point. It could, there's a number of those. It could be something like that where it's just not meant to be anything important.
Yeah. Like the El Rey Motel. I mean, the El Rey Motel has a fast travel point, oddly, strangely, because there's like 5 of them there.
Use it as a base camp all the time. So,
so there's a lot of so I don't really get bent out of shape about like this kind of stuff where they add these things, because it's like,
they have
number one, the New Vegas map is really small, and number 2, like, I'm sure if you ask the devs of New Vegas, if you ask Obsidian, what do you think about this? They would be like, yeah, that's fine. Like,
yeah,
fuck, this could be like Boulder, like this could literally be Camp Searchlight.
Yeah,
over here,
or Boulder City, or exactly.
Yeah, I mean, this could be fucking anywhere. But yeah, so he convinces Thaddeus to go along with him, and Thaddeus is not Brotherhood material, to say the least.
But he kind of regressed a little bit, honestly.
Yeah, he's kind of
you were in this thing a year ago.
I mean, even a year ago, he was still kind of goofy, but he was like dedicated to the cause.
But he was
now he's just straight up, no, I'm out. I'm out skis now.
Yeah, but it's like he was never in the first place. I thought the characterization was just slightly off.
Right.
Just for the sake of the humor.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the joke. And so it kind of tweaked me just a little bit, but it was funny.
Yeah, Thaddeus is definitely like a comic relief character. I think they'll probably mold his character to fit into the comic relief role however they have to.
Yeah.
Which I think they might have done that with a couple characters before. I can't think of any in season 2 like that, but I think there was a couple like that in season 1 where it was like, this character exists literally just to be comic relief, and that's it.
Sure, the chicken guy.
Oh yeah. We also get to see, so Cooper rescued Lucy at the end of episode 3, and now we get to see he took her back to the Rangers, and the Rangers got her some help, and they gave her a trickle of buff out, and she gets to see how the NCR is faring in their war with the Legion.
All 3 of them.
Yeah, all 3 of the NCR. And it looks like we have a trooper and 2 Rangers, and the Rangers have seemed to given up, and she's the only one who has any amount of hope. Although Biff, the name of I find out this guy's name,
Uncle Rico.
Yeah,
Uncle Rico is Biff. Yeah. Why didn't they just call him Rico?
That would have been been really funny.
Give that to us.
I guess he's apparently maybe also holding out hope. One of the things she says to him is, or he says to her is like, "You ever been to Shady Sands? That's where we're from." And Lucy looks at him and she's just like, yeah, the desert's really taking the toll on you. But during this little exchange, we get kind of some character building moments where we know Lucy wants to do the right thing, and she, for a moment, is offered like, "What if you joined us?" And she's like a goody two shoes character, which, if you played New Vegas, I think a lot of goody two shoes characters ended up joining the NCR regardless. And she's like, "No, I can't. I'm on a main quest. I have to go find my dad." And she doesn't say that. She says she was looking for somebody, and the NCR lady asks her, is it someone you love or someone you hate? And Lucy can't quite give a straight answer, which I think is an interesting thing. I wrote in my notes. She can't give a straight answer, and is that because? Is she going to actually be able to confront her father when the time comes? Is an interesting question. I think that scene raised. Will she end up letting him get away? Because she can't. I doubt he's going to willingly just go with her, and to be taken to, face justice where the NCR seemingly doesn't exist anymore. It's like, you're going to put him on trial? Like, where are you going to do that? So your only option might be to just have to fucking shoot him in the head. Where are you going to do that? And she seems like still pretty coy about the whole "my dad is my enemy" type of thing. But the NCR sends her on her way with some guns. She gets a big ass cache of weapons. It kind of funny that the Rangers were just like, "Here, take these guns."
Yeah.
And so they head out on their way. And Cooper and Lucy have a little moment where Coop's kind of saying to her, like, do you think that they would have treated you so nicely if they knew who your father was? And Lucy acts like, it wouldn't have mattered anyways because she wasn't interested in staying. She says all she saw were more matching jackets, which I thought was an interesting line because I couldn't quite tell if she was referring to the Ranger dusters looking like Cooper's, and she was kind of making fun of him for having like the most cliche like Western outfit, or if she meant like vault suits where she's kind of sick and tired of the whole cult thing where everywhere she goes.
It's a callback to episode 1 when the ghoul refers to the Great Khans as a bunch of matching jackets.
Oh.
So she's basically dismissing the NCR as yet another group. And personally, I had a problem with that line, but that's what it is. It's just a callback to season 1. I mean, to episode 1. That's why she's saying it to the ghoul, because
he's the one who says they're just a bunch of matching jackets.
Yeah, it's like an inside thing between the two of them.
I really, at least before episode 8, I need to watch them all again, like a continuity, because I think I start to get hyper focused episode brain rot where I'm like, all right, I've talked about that episode. Let's just take everything out of, like, grab it and drag it out of my fucking head, and then I just fill my head with this episode. So thankfully we have you on to say, no, that this is the reference.
It's, I'm a writer, so I always cue into the writing.
Pick up on those things. Yeah.
That's my trade.
So I'm glad. Okay, so we've gotten that, and then we immediately cut to Vault. This one was kind of like episode 2. We got a lot of cuts in this episode, jumping between scenes.
Mm-hmm.
We head back to Vault 33, where they are now pretty much out of water. Like, they are rationing water. Things are not going well for them. But Reg has his little what Betty calls a snack club. He goes to get more water, and Betty tells him, like, we need to ration. He counters with, you told me I could do this. You're not going to stop me. And it kind of feels like Reg was sort of like an odd one out in the vault. And now he is, because of his little, incest inbreeding club, he feels like he is now has a group to talk to. And he's essentially using the snacks to get people in, the food, the water, the resources, because otherwise there are rations on everything else. So of course everybody's naturally going to head to this club where they know they can get food and water. And Benny is very concerned, but it seems like she's not willing to put her foot down, or maybe she's afraid of sort of a vault revolt like what happened in 32, where, you know, it wasn't Moldaver and her like pseudo raiders that killed everybody. It was the vault dwellers that killed everybody. They killed themselves, likely because they found out about this vault experiment. Like so many other vaults, you find out that you're a bunch of guinea pigs and everybody decides to kill each other. And then, you know, the player character walks in and gets to read a whole bunch of computer entries and learn about how much, you know, how sick and twisted Vault Tech really was. And that's a short scene as well, kind of just setting up a potential very problematic conflict for the Vault. We cut back to Lucy. Lucy is now a drug addict. She's addicted to Buff Out, and Cooper basically tells her that the solution to be addicted to drugs is he says, do more drugs. And so Lucy, after bargaining with herself, convincing herself that doing more drugs is the right thing to do for the people of the wasteland, she does more drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And I took this screenshot because it seemed like when she was considering weighing what Cooper had said about, you know, it takes 5 days for you to kind of go through the withdrawal effects of Buff Out. It's like she's eyeing how far they still have to go, and she's like, give me the drugs. Give me the drugs. I need the drugs. Cooper tells her, do more drugs. And then we cut back to the Brotherhood once Thaddeus and Maximus have landed here. So we get a nice establishing shot of Area 51 and all these different Brotherhood airships. And Dane gets on Maximus's ass immediately because she sees Thaddeus, you know, clumbering around, obviously having no idea how to pilot power armor. And she's just like, they were just like, what did you do? What did you do? And Maximus tells her, Maximus tells Dane that he killed Xander because, you know, he had to kill him.
Kill
a bunch of children. Yeah, and Dane knows, which is interesting how we have like the kind of the grunts of the Brotherhood really don't seem to believe in the Brotherhood's mission. They're just happy to not be living in the wasteland. Right. They have just a spot to be, whereas like it's the paladins and the knights and the clerics and the elders who are like, yeah, we're gonna kill all the abominations. But Dane basically decides to go along with this plan that Maximus has, which is he's gonna go kill Quintus. And I guess he thinks that's gonna help stop the Commonwealth from coming and kind of plowing through everybody, as if he kills Quintus and turns him into a martyr. I'm not exactly sure, but Dane goes and takes all of the, I guess, anybody under the age of maybe 18 or 16 in the Brotherhood and sticks them all in a safe room. And Maximus seems to have this resolve. He's made up his mind. Yeah. I don't think he wants to be in the Brotherhood anymore. He wants to get the fuck out. But he also cares about Dane. He cares about the people in the Brotherhood. And so he's kind of lost. And throughout this episode, we kind of get to see how Quintus has sort of, I don't want to say Quintus is, but Quintus kind of represents the Brotherhood being almost turning into like Caesar's Legion, but technologically advanced instead, where they are just going around finding people or killing people and then basically scooping up all the children and turning them into Brotherhood of Steel initiates. We cut to Norm, and they're all out of the vault, and they're all convincing themselves that raw pasta is better than cooked pasta for survival. And
200-year-old pasta, by the
way. With all the preservatives that they've probably... I can't imagine how many preservatives were being stuck into food in
They
the world
must
of
all be. It must be all salt by now.
Yeah. Maybe that's why the uncooked pasta tastes so good, because it's just nice and salty.
It's just salt.
A nice salty snack with some powdered cheese to help it go down. Norm kind of seems to have this one individual, and she's kind of having a crisis moment where she's realizing, like, the entire world that she used to know. She comments she drove across that bridge, what to her was a week ago, to go have her Vault Tech interview, and now she comes out a week later, and the entire world she used to know has been obliterated. And I think I don't know if this is supposed to be Santa Monica or Los Angeles.
It doesn't look like Santa Monica to me, but you know, who knows where they filmed this?
Right. I think the intention is for it to be the Boneyard. They're in LA proper.
Yeah.
And she is just, not adapting well. Seems like a lot of them are kind of just trying to cope with the fact that everything is destroyed. I thought maybe there might be like a dynamic between them where some of them are almost like just total sociopaths. Like, they just don't care that the world is destroyed. To them, it's like, we had an agenda and we're on track to complete that agenda. Step 1, build the vaults. Step 2, blow up the whole world. Step 3, come out and make it ours. And to them, they're just like, this is just part of the process. But maybe some of these other people who
only joined a week before,
who aren't like just like the worst cretins humanity had to offer, are like, this is fucking horrible. This is terrible. What did we do? But Norma is still.
Do we have the screenshot of the other guy?
No, I didn't take one of Ronnie. Ronnie is definitely the sociopathic type, though, who's just like, the plan, boss. And I imagine Ronnie's going to be a problem character in the next episode, or before the season finishes out, where Norm is going to have to eventually confront the fact that he's not actually a super manager of genetic engineering, but is instead actually just a guy from Vault 33, who stuck his nose where, what's his face? The little brain jar guy didn't want him going.
Bud.
Yeah, Bud. And now they have to deal with this. So,
well, then Ronnie intimates that the plan was to use FEV on 32 and 33.
Is that what he? So I didn't quite pick that up. I know he says phase 2, and he talks about how important phase 2 is, and there's an experiment.
I'm trying to find. I had a screenshot of. I mean, I had a recording. He mentions that he was part of a group, and I forgot what the name of the group was. I'm sure somebody, if there's anybody in the comments, maybe they remember. But the initials of the group were FEV.
Oh yeah, I've got it here.
You got it?
Future Enterprise Ventures.
Future Enterprise Ventures. And he's saying it like kind of like with a wink and a nod. And it's like, you remember the 32, 33 plan?
Okay.
So you put those two things together, and it seems like ultimately the plan was to subject 32 and 33 to FEV.
I don't see what else it could be.
Yeah, I don't either.
I wonder what the triennial exchanges had to do with that then, if that was like a way to
maybe to make sure, because we know from the games that, well, we know from the games, especially from 1 and 2, that the mutants are intelligent if they're from human stock that is not irradiated or has some sort of other characteristic. And I guess maybe the idea was to keep 32 and 33 with good human stock so that they could become like super intelligent mutants, something like the lieutenant or Marcus, and not like one of the dumber ones.
I also wonder, we know West Tech was experimenting with humans before the end of the world.
Right.
and at least in Appalachia. So I wonder if they knew.
Well, in the game, in Fallout 1 too. I mean, they mentioned Roger Maxon's revolt.
That's why he does that. Yeah.
Yeah. The mutants are pre-war.
Right.
Some of them are.
So we know that it's possible that Vault-Tec knew that the mutants couldn't breathe, that they were sterile.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe the triennial trade is basically to say, like, we're going to keep a pen of humans specifically for the purpose of breeding them to keep this flow, because we can't just turn everybody into mutants.
Yeah. And that might explain better what happened with 32, because 32 was kind of like a question mark in season 1. I don't think it was really well explained what exactly happened there.
It could be maybe 32 was the one who was maybe supposed to be the mutant pool, and 33 is supposed to be the human pool. Once they found out what was going on, they killed each other. I wonder if we'll ever get an answer for that, or if it's kind of just going to always be a vague background thing.
I have a little idea from it.
A theory.
I have a theory. I just think it's to keep the genetics as pure as possible, because if they're in the same vault, they're going to inbreed a lot, aren't they? So keeping it mixed around, you're not going to get because you know what inbreeding can do to people.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to make them not as smart, depending on what happens and stuff. And so I'm thinking they want the purest and the smartest people they can get. So keeping it all, keep everyone on the toes. You could be sent over here, you could be sent over here. It's just
that makes sense. Yeah,
that's how I see it.
They're afraid that the inbreeding is going to affect their genetic viability for FEV mutation.
Yeah, that's what I kind of got from it. But admittedly, they don't give you much.
No,
and you have to kind of roll it around.
There's a lot of that with this, especially with this season, where we see a lot of stuff, but so much of it is just vague. Well, maybe might, what could have happened, but a lot of it so far, things I thought we would potentially get an answer to, are still unanswered. And we're still going. So, but we do see Norm is obviously sympathetic towards these people. He doesn't just hate them because they're pre-war monsters or whatever. When he's talking to this lady Claudia, he has sympathy for her. But when Ronnie shows up and starts asking questions about phase 2, I think he kind of is some of these people are just genuinely horrible people, and he's he's doing his best to kind of try and manipulate them to get information out of them about it, while still trying to play the tough guy, which is really funny to come from Norm's, this little tiny scrawny guy who's everybody, the big joke around him is that he has the small frame trait, and he's now playing this big boss leader for all of these guys, and trying to intimidate them and whatnot. So that's an interesting element of kind of what's going on here. But yeah, I wonder if we'll get more information about this phase 2 in the next episode,
or at least the next episode Norm's in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
They've been doing every other with some of these characters. We haven't seen Hank in a while.
That's true.
Or Mr. House. So it just depends on what they have time to get into.
They're trying to tell a lot of stories with just 45 minutes of working time.
Yeah.
We get back to Vault 32 after this, and they are not doing well in 32. I feel like there's a lot of tension in 32. They are, they're trying to play nice as best that they can, but they're not happy about being here. And Steph is not doing a great job at kind of quelling people's worries. She definitely seems like the more vindictive type, and she does not have great leadership qualities. And so we get introduced to Woody Thomas. Now, I shouldn't say introduced, but he's he's sort of the POV character for us here. He keeps getting lost, and that's, I guess, their excuse for him to show up here on Betty and Steph's little meeting. Is he gets really lost, and overhears Steph and Betty talking about the experiment and how Bud Askins is dead and how Vault 33 is running out of water. And Steph says the experiment is over. We have to watch out for ourselves now. There's a dynamic between the two of them that obviously existed before all of this. Maybe it's even a pre-war thing. Before they were both frozen. It seems like all of these people were frozen when they were still very young. And as they're being unfrozen, obviously, Benny says she was unfrozen 40 years ago. And Steph seems like she was probably let out much more recently than that.
Yeah.
So
they could have been closer in age pre-war.
And
now
it seems like these two have a little bit of history between them.
Yeah.
Steph specifically asks, basically they make this little, she tries to bargain with Betty. She says, if you want water, you got to bring me Hank's keepsake box. There's something personal in it. And Betty is very apprehensive. She doesn't seem like she wants to play ball with Steph, but she doesn't have any choice, because if she doesn't, she's either going to have a mutiny or everybody's going to die of dehydration. And either way is not good for her.
No.
As we keep going here, Woody hears about this and he's kind of freaked out by it. Eventually, he does go to Steph in her little house, her little vault dorm, and I love how kind of inept the vault dwellers are always made out to be, because he goes there and he's like, I need to report something, but she's the overseer. Who, like, what's going to happen about that? But in that scene, that's how Chet finds out that something is really, really wrong. He finds Steph's ID, and this all happens out of order. So we'll get to that. We get to see New Vegas. Once again, the geography for the area is just all out of whack. I'm not even going to bother trying to figure out what the orientation is. Like, Camp McCarran is over here, but this is apparently the front of New Vegas, because we see the welcome to fabulous New Vegas in one of these scenes with
Yeah, this part I didn't.
it seems like there's very little attention to detail with the geography going on.
Because in the game, the welcome to Las Vegas sign is right next to Camp McCarran.
Yeah. Here, Camp McCarran is on the complete opposite side of the strip
and
of the city.
Do you have a screenshot of the front gate?
I think so.
That's them looking at. Okay, so yeah, so roughly
right
here. Okay, so go back to the one before that though. So in game, you see this in Freeside while you're walking past the Securitrons to get in. But the ghoul's like, well, let's go to Freeside and go in that way. And I'm like, well, wait a second, isn't this?
This should be Freeside.
So obviously something's different, or they changed something here. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. And Freeside's interesting too, because in game you have Freeside's kind of split up into two districts. You have, New Vegas itself is split up into, you have Las Vegas proper, the whole city. That's like, you have the Fiends in West Vegas. You have the Sunset Sarsaparilla bottling plant, Camp McCarran's to the south. You have North Vegas, which is like slums. You have West Side as well. That's slums. That's where the Thorn is. East Vegas is like outskirts and where, housings. And then when you get into Freeside, you have the outer Freeside, which is like, you have some businesses there, but it's mostly filled with junkies and drug addicts. And then you go through another, and that's where the gates to like the Mojave Wasteland are. That's how you get into Freeside, is that outer district.
And you pass the Followers and Mick and Ralph's and all that stuff.
Yeah. And then you go through, there's like it looks like a destroyed bus, and it's like a blue gate. You pass through that, and then you're in Freeside. I don't want to say Freeside proper, but you're in like inner Freeside. That's where not Mick and Ralph's,
Atomic Wrangler,
the Silver Rush, and the Kings are.
Yeah.
And then you go straight down that road, and that's where you should see this, and the Securitrons and everything. And they actually show, I don't know if you can see right here, there's a Securitron
Yeah.
in a spot. So it's like they did a weird thing here. And some of the artwork for New Vegas, especially concept art and promotional art, Vegas has an entrance where the Welcome to Fabulous New Vegas is, but the walls are very different. They're like proper concrete walls, whereas in game they're just made of like random junk and rubble. So it seems like they're trying to mesh these two concepts together, like what Obsidian originally imagined New Vegas as, and then what actually is New Vegas, and like mashed them up into this weird hodgepodge. And for the last 3 episodes, me and Mysterious Stranger have been trying to put together the geography of this stuff, and I'm at the point now where I'm like, there's no consistency
Yeah, I've given
at
up.
all. There, like
Whatever
definitively,
whatever they're calling it, this is not Freeside in the show.
we're on the outskirts, and this is like, we see this outlook. To me, this looks like East Vegas, where the sharecropper farms would be. And they show up, and Cooper's looking at it, and he says, like, Lucy's kind of teasing him. She's like, what did you expect, a welcoming committee? Like, everywhere else they've gone has been shit. It's always been shit. They're always getting shot at. Somebody's either trying to fucking eat him or shoot him, or she's had to pretend to be a bounty hunter because the great Khans want them. And she's like, what, this is the one time you expect a welcome committee? And Cooper's kind of like, yeah, actually, I did. And he's like, something's wrong. We should go to Freeside and to try and figure out what's going on, which I don't even know why. Like, if you looked out and this looked fucking desolate, I don't know why you would think Freeside would be any better given Freeside's reputation. But we get to see what became of the Kings as well. The Kings are just, it seems like they're all ghouls, because I obviously, we don't know, like, maybe there are still some Kings inside Freeside, maybe, but like the King is out here ghoulified. And they're all ferals too. They're not even just like regular ghouls. They're ferals. And apparently Lucy is now hopped up on Psycho because she immediately just starts fucking blasting.
She's buff out. She's popping buff out.
Yeah, she's supposed to be on buff out. Well, I was watching it, and I thought, when she started going crazy, I'm like, well, that's a weird thing to put her on, because if she's supposed to be addicted to Psycho, like, or buff out, I think she'd be like punching, because that gives you like strength. And so Psycho is like the thing that just makes you want to kill people. So I found that to be, it's a nitpick. It's not me critiquing it. It's just me being like, she's on Psycho because she's crazy. But she does just kill the King. This is where we get this fantastic shot from the trailer. And Cooper is enjoying it. He is loving this new Lucy, who is hopped up on drugs constantly, and wants to just do everything hard and fast. And I know when she's like approaching the gate, she just says, I'm tired of these side quests. I'm tired of like these detours. I'm going straight up to the front. And Cooper comments, he goes, that's the drugs talking. And then he goes, and he says to himself, he's like, but I like what they're saying. Right. So after they're done murdering all the Kings, we get to see Thaddeus, who is just doing Thaddeus stuff, just being the biggest comic relief character there is, and he is not doing hot. He's not hot. Coronado Elder and the Yosemite Elder both approach Thaddeus thinking he's Harkness, and they're both basically like trying to get out of Quintus's little deal and save their hides. And they're both like, well, it's weird that either of them are trying to strike deals with the Brotherhood, with the Commonwealth Brotherhood, because like you don't have the relic. The Quintus has the relic. I don't know what they're trying to, maybe to join them and like trying to kill Quintus, but then they're also arguing like they're on opposing sides rather than trying to be one unified brotherhood. So obviously the Brotherhood is not in the best state it's ever been. And these chapters are not on teams. or they're not all the same team. They're very factionalized, and they don't really seem to like each other. As this is kind of unfolding, Thaddeus is starting to panic because so far he's just had to pretend that he's Xander as to not make anybody suspicious of his whereabouts. But now he's being actually just straight up approached by people, important people, I might add. And as that's happening, Dane goes to steal the relic, go to grab the gold fusion. And as they're doing that, Maximus,
nobody is guarding for some reason.
Yeah, no, very conveniently, nobody is guarding it.
The thing that everybody wants. Nobody.
Yeah, no, just gone. Quintus is here, and Maximus goes to confront Quintus. Is basically like, I'm just gonna. He's like, I'm gonna kill Quintus. And he gets in there and he starts pointing his gun at him, and he tells Quintus like, yeah, I killed Xander because he was gonna kill children. Then for some reason, Maximus makes the bright idea to mention that they were ghoul children because, that'll definitely make Quintus change his mind about you. That, you basically condemn them all to death to save some ghoul children who also Quintus holds the exact same view on. They're abominations. They deserve to die. And he's there the entire time being like, he just can't shoot him. He won't shoot him. I don't know if it's like he's thinking about the emotional manipulation that Quintus has done because he keeps calling him like son and stuff. And Maximus is kind of a weird character in that regard. Yeah, but he just can't do it. We cut back. The Yosemite Elder kills the Coronado Elder because the Grand Canyon Elder comes in after Dane has stolen the relic, and he's just yelling about like one of them stole the relic, and he thinks it's one of these two, or potentially Xander took it. And so I think her name is McCrae, stabs this Coronado guy in the mouth and says basically accuses him of being a backstabber, asserting that he's the one who stole the relic. So they're all just plotting against each other. They all hate each other. And it has finally come to a head. Now that the relic is gone, they're going fucking crazy. Dane gives the relic to Maximus and Thaddeus. They barely manage to get away. And this is where their scene ends, but we get to see this is the Brotherhood Civil War that was teased in the trailers come to fruition. The whole thing is going down now. So this is where we cut to back to Vault 32. This is Chet discovering that Steph is
Canadian.
Yeah. Oh my God. The worst thing that could happen.
Dun, dun, dun.
She's not a real American. Chet realizes that something is very, very wrong here. And Steph is obviously kind of weighing over her head. She seems like it. She's not really doing a great job managing everybody's fears, managing everybody's concerns, making people feel like they're okay. She's on edge. Everybody's on edge. Chet's on edge. And now he is basically like a full blown, he tried to at the end of season 1, where they were being split between Vault 33 and 32. He was talking to Norm, and Chet was with Norm the whole time that they were figuring out that something was deeply wrong. And Chet just wanted to go back to things being normal. And now it's like he goes in here and he's kind of realized he can't do that. There is no going back to normal. And normal, for that matter, was a lie anyways. It was always a lie. And I don't really know what he's going to do after this, because he's kind of been running and hiding from the truth all along. And finally, the last scene, we get to see the interior of New Vegas. This is when this was what made me finally give up on trying to get the geography, the layout, and be like, oh yeah, look how they adapted it. They did. I looked at this and I was like, this is not at all what the layout is in the game. I give up.
I saw these sets when they were up in North Hollywood, not too far from me, and I would go by every now and then, look at it, and this is how they were laid out, but I always just assumed they were going to be
Do some
shot
camera trickery.
and then composited in a way that would make them look like they were in the game, but it was like, no, they just
changed that. I know they said there was like a strip mall.
Yeah.
Or like an abandoned mall that they took over to do this.
No, it's not abandoned. It's but half of it is like there is a big lot. It's like a giant lot that's next to this very small strip mall. And
Gotcha.
that's where they built these sets on that lot. It's off the 170 freeway in North Hollywood, just a little bit northwest of downtown Los Angeles. And yeah, I went over to the set one time and a security guard chased me off, but I I did get to see a lot of this stuff, and it's cool seeing it now with everything with all the effects finished, because what I saw was like just the doorways, basically. Like everything you're seeing above the doorways is CGI.
Gotcha.
Like the girls, the Gamora girls, the Mudflap girls, they were not.
They weren't present.
No.
Yeah. It's actually kind of funny that that's the case, because I would think that if all of that was being digitally added in, they could have made, like, because Gamora has that big awning that the girls dance under. And when I didn't realize it at first, but when I did my rewatches, I was like, okay, they just straight up excluded that part from here too. Like,
well, that building, the building that Gamora's in, that was a like an unused, like empty, like I think there was like a grocery store there or something at one time. And right now it's empty, and that's what it basically looks like that. So it didn't have the awning, and I guess they just didn't decide to add it in.
Yeah, it's weird if they did so much CGI work to make a lot of this look cool. It's just weird to me that, like,
right, Vault 21's like right there. Where's the
it's and this little guy here is like the Ultralux. So I was at this point, I was like, okay, they are.
It's not really a strip.
No, yeah, like this isn't the strip.
It's
this
like
is just
a cul-de-sac.
Yeah, it's a New Vegas cul-de-sac. And so Lucy and Cooper get inside, which apparently it was like the middle of the day before.
Right.
And then we cut, and now it's like it's the dead of night. Cooper is kind of freaked out, because to him it's like, this should be a bustling city. He knows it's supposed to be a busy city. I don't know if Cooper ever actually visited New Vegas, because he was in the ground for a long time. And New Vegas was like a fairly newer city that popped up. Like, it was a jewel in the middle of the wasteland, referring to the fact that, like, it was a preserved in quotations, preserved pre-war city, because none of the bombs hit it directly because of Mr. House. But it was run by tribals. Tribes lived there. It wasn't the city of New Vegas. And it wasn't that until Mr. House woke up and kind of whipped him into shape using the Securitrons. So how much Cooper is supposed to know about New Vegas is very weird.
It's definitely been a minute since he's been back.
Yeah. I don't know if, like, when was the last time he was here? Was it when the tribals were running the place? Was it pre-war? Like, he hasn't been to Vegas since pre-war?
It's hard to say what his story is now, because Bethesda's sticking him in Fallout 76.
That's what I was about to say. He's been literally to the other side of the country. So he could have been to Pittsburgh. He could have been to Vegas. He could have been to Reno. There's all sorts of places. Chicago. There's an endless number of places that he could have been at this point. So trying to say, like, well, maybe he was here or here or here is like impossible now.
Yeah, at this point now they've opened it up so that he could literally have been anywhere at any time.
Yeah. His story between the bombs dropping and season 1, him coming out of the ground now, is, I think, more muddied than it could possibly have ever been before.
Which is why that coming out of the ground thing was dumb, but whatever.
Yeah. And I forget how long they had said he was in there for, because if he was in there, I think they said something like maybe 30 years or something. I can't remember. That's a long ass time to be in the ground, man. That means he missed the entirety of. He might have been around for Fallout 2, but he would have definitely missed the events of New Vegas.
Right.
The war for Hoover Dam.
Yeah.
So this, there's a few screenshots. I was getting pretty tired at this point of pausing every fucking 15 seconds to take a screenshot. But Lucy is still high as a kite in this, and she like finds a Deathclaw egg, and there's like her Geiger counter is going off, and I'm sure Cooper is able to tell when he's in a radiated area because he's a ghoul. Probably gives them a nice mellow high. But Lucy picks up a Deathclaw egg. She's screaming to find her father. Cooper's like, we should really go to Freeside. Like, we should go to Freeside now. This is not right. And meanwhile, Lucy's like screaming at the top of her lungs, for her dad. And at some point, Cooper's like, in the middle of the scene, Cooper's like,
she was making chicken sounds. She found the eggs and she was
she found the Deathclaw egg, and she was like, how big do the chickens get out over here? Yeah, making chicken sounds. And Cooper's like, that's not a chicken.
Yep.
So Cooper knows what Deathclaw eggs look like, and then we see this claw come out of Gamora, and then Lucy realizes that maybe she should have listened to Cooper and taken things a little more seriously. And because then this guy comes out, and he is a big old boy. He is a very big old boy.
This is one of those shots that's like, it's cool. He stands up, he smashes the doorway. It's awesome. It's awesome, man. But I was like, well, how did he get in there without smashing the doorway?
Yeah, like
that's all I was thinking. Was like, well, how did he get in there?
One of my friends said something interesting, which is that maybe the way that they got into all these places is that they're from the Thorn, like the underground tunnels of New Vegas. And so they've just been kind of like crawling around underground, and now they've finally made their way to the surface. There's so many different Deathclaws around New Vegas. They're to the south, they're in the Thorn, they're into the east in Gypsum Train Yard. They're fucking everywhere around New Vegas. So Lord knows where these guys could have come from.
Or it could have been, Legion sabotage. Get some eggs, hide them on the strip somewhere.
Ooh.
Yeah. The showrunners really seem to be leaning into the Legion pretty hard as a malevolent force this season.
Yeah,
especially with that post-credit sequence we get in this episode.
Yeah, because I don't think I took a screenshot of it, but we get to see there are some Legion corpses in Camp McCarran that have like spears that have impaled NCR troopers.
Yeah. So
something
like the Legion wiped out the NCR base at McCarran.
Something definitely happened there. As to the timeline of that, and we'll talk about the time, because I have a lot of words to say about kind of the way that they're handling the version of events that come from the game and how they've influenced this. I have some thoughts about that, and I'm sure you guys have some thoughts about that as well at this point. But yeah, Lucy realizes like, and Cooper, this is the first time we've seen Cooper the ghoul actually look scared of something. Not like, he's seen everything, been everywhere, knows how to handle every problem. Deathclaws are like a legitimate situation where he's like, oh shit. And so is Lucy. Lucy's fucking scared out of her mind here. So we get into, this is where, and do you watch the next episode trailers?
Sometimes Prime just wants to take you right to the next show in its roster immediately, and I'm like, no, wait, stop! I wasn't done watching the credits.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
So
So I've seen like half of them.
okay, so I have screenshots from this one. The first thing we see, there is another Deathclaw, and
So this is like the trailer. I think,
yes. So
right?
now we're in the trailer. I was listening to this the second and third time I watched it. The first time I watched this, I saw it on my TV. So I was listening through my crappy TV speakers because I don't have like a sound bar or anything.
Mhm.
And the second time, I was listening to it on my headphones. And if you have that kind of stereo sound where you can hear from one side or the other, you can hear there are Deathclaw sounds coming from, they'll be coming from one ear and then a different sound will come from another ear. So
yeah, no, there's
they
definitely
mix the
more than
audio.
one.
Yeah. And so here they reveal there is definitively another Deathclaw. These guys are fucked. they're really fucked right now. But they do escape because we get to see what is, I'm going to assume, Freeside.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely Freeside.
No. There is no video game. This is a completely original setting by Amazon.
Quint, I just watched Jaws last week. You were great.
I'm assuming this is Freeside. There are so many things in the trailer where we thought there was going to be something, and then it was like, no, it wasn't that actually. So
yeah,
I'm not going to definitively.
But we have seen the Atomic Wrangler.
Yeah,
in these shots.
I'm going to prophetically assume this is Freeside, but nothing is gospel at this point. So this is probably Freeside.
That's true. That's safe.
Yeah, and we also see in her bag, I'm assuming this is her coming down from the buff out. She is dealing with withdrawal, but we also see there's a power fist in her bag. So maybe she trades the buff out for the power fist. And now she's got the withdrawal. And I only say that's a power fist because we see her using it later, and she's using it in trailers as well.
Knocking the
we also
out
get
the
to
window.
see yeah. We also see pre-war Vegas, and we know it seems like Norm is probably going to be in the next episode. I've heard people call this Vault-Tec headquarters, but I don't remember where Vault-Tec headquarters is.
It's in Washington, D.C.
Okay, so yeah, this is not Vault-Tec HQ, but it is a Vault-Tec office building.
Is that the one from season 1? I don't remember what it looked like. Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So they're returning here. And then finally we're going to see Mr. House next episode.
Or is it Anthony?
Oh my God. It's Anthony pretending to be Robert for his brother because Anthony's paranoid or something. So we do see Robert House, and this is where Cooper confronts Mr. House about his assassination mission.
Right.
And then that's when that's the end. That's the end of the trailer. So those are the things that we know is upcoming. Now that we have spent a decent amount of time talking about the episode, what did you guys think of the episode?
It was all right. It was decent.
Of the 4 we've seen, I'll just say this was my least favorite.
Okay.
I liked 3 much better.
Yeah, I like 3 as well. This one felt like it was a lot of setup with very little payoff to all the different things that they were setting up. And
I'm just like
not a fan.
The destruction porn is kind of wearing me down.
Yes. I want to talk about that after we get our kind of thought. I guess that is our thoughts about this episode is this. So this is our midway point. Mysterious Stranger, if you have anything specific you want to say, I'll let you say it now because I'm going to have some words.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my main critique is it has like 7 different storylines, and I hate. We said this like I think it was 2 episodes ago. it cuts around too much, and
Yeah.
you can't really like focus on one. Like the bit with Barb and the ID, that was like what, a few minutes, and then it was back again to another scene. Like, and the Alaska stuff, that could have been a bit more than just Deathclaw, rawr. And it's just I like the episode, but 3 was really good compared to this. Like
3 was, yeah, 3 was much more focused. Episode 2 had moments where it was like Lucy had a scene that wasn't even 5 seconds long.
Yeah,
and it could have
yeah, I
been
remember that.
easily clipped into another scene, but instead they're doing this like schizo cutting where you just can't focus on one scene for too long. And I almost wonder if the reason they've done that is because of I pay for Prime without the ads. And I specifically do that because I heard that without Prime, like Plus or whatever stupid tier they call it, it is like ads literally every like minute and 30
It's so
seconds. It's
annoying.
an ad.
Yeah.
So
It's not quite that bad, but it is just like watching regular TV. You
yeah.
don't feel like you're having a pay experience.
Yeah, like a premiere paid, especially because these are episode premieres. You would think, if this is Amazon's thing, I understand they know a lot of people are watching, so they want to get that ad revenue. But like, I feel like there are definitely people who are turning it off because of the ads experience. Where like, I hate. Like, I know if I couldn't afford Prime without ads, I would not be watching this shit because I would be like, I just can't watch this. I
just pulling
hate
clips
advertising.
too is rough because if you forward far enough, it automatically puts you into like 2.5 minutes of ads.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I want to get a clip from the latter half of the show. I got to sit here for 2.5 minutes and wait for these ads to all play.
Yeah.
First.
So my main critique for this episode is really my main critique for the entire season and how they're basically kind of adapting New Vegas. I know. So, Mikey, I'll let you go first. Is it Mikey or Mickey? Mickey. Okay. Apologies, Mickey. If you want to talk about what your feelings are, and I'll let you go first because I know you said you had some stuff to say about it.
Well, yeah, like I said, I just overall the destruction porn is just kind of wearing me down. They are we a lot of us said this in season 1. It just kind of feels like they're trying to get rid of the interplay Obsidian lore to kind of provide a I don't want to say blank slate because it's the wasteland, but and that's fine. That's Bethesda's right. They own the IP, but what they're replacing it with is kind of like the least interesting
thing it could
most predictable version of a wasteland. We were talking earlier about 1, 2, and New Vegas and how those stories are about hope and rebuilding. And what we're seeing instead is just everything you try to do is ultimately going to fail in the end. And I find the storytelling then becomes very glib. It becomes very cynical and pessimistic.
Yeah.
And it's just not what I got into Fallout for, just wanton destruction,
Yeah.
It seems like what we're getting is like this is the main story is like how the wasteland is going to change Lucy. And what I like about New Vegas is it's about how you, the courier, changed the wasteland.
Yeah.
And they're giving us the opposite of that. And it's just like, I mean, I watched 12 seasons of The Walking Dead or whatever. Like, yeah, I know what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, this is that with robots and lasers, but it's still like we go to a place, everything's destroyed, people are terrible, we become worse.
Yeah, I kind of have exactly the same thing where so Bethesda did Fallout 3, and Fallout 3 took place 36 years after Fallout 2, which was a game where for anybody who's a fan of the show, and they came in with the show and they don't know anything really about the games. Fallout 1 takes place, it's the earliest, I should say now it's the second earliest game, but it takes place 60 years after the bombs dropped. It takes place in the year 2161, I want to say.
So 2161 sounds right.
The wasteland at that point, when you're walking around, number one, keep in mind, this is 60 years after a nuclear holocaust. Vaults have already opened. There are raiders, but there's also multiple towns. There's the hub, there is the boneyard, there is Shady Sands, there's Junktown. There are towns, and they're fully fleshed out with tons of people who are just living pseudo-regular lives, especially in Shady Sands and Junktown.
Yeah, I mean, you can go to Junktown, you can go gamble at a casino. You have the Maltese Falcon Club.
There's law enforcement.
You can go get a job running caravans with Butch. Like
there's a lot of stuff. And
Fallout has never been about the post-apocalypse. It's always been about the post-apocalypse. If they wanted Fallout to be about the post-apocalypse, they would have said it right after the bombs dropped.
Yeah,
but they didn't.
And that's that's the weird thing about Fallout 76 is that Fallout 76 is it is basically right after the bomb. I mean, it's 30 years, which in the course of nuclear war, if you have that many bombs dropping that you've wiped out surface civilization as a whole, that should be that. But then Appalachia looks exactly the same as Fallout 4 does, which is
well, they use the same kind of contrivance that New Vegas did, which is that Appalachia didn't get hit, or only small pockets of it got hit.
Right, because it's and for West Virginia, I can kind of believe that, because what military who has a finite amount of arms is going to spend all of their armaments attacking rural West Virginia. And Charleston did get hit by bombs. Definitively, it was definitely blown to smithereens. And you can see that. Like, there's a huge crater in Charleston.
Is that when I haven't played Fallout 76 in a while?
I thought it was
a dam. I thought a dam burst and flooded
is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah, the ski resort raiders blew up the dam to try to rescue someone in Charleston, and then end up killing everyone.
What is the ash heap? Is the ash heap where the bomb hit?
There was Appalachia. It was never actually directly hit, but it was close proximity to Washington.
Of course, you're going to get fallout.
Okay, so all right, so that is. West Virginia is the earliest game. 76 is the earliest game, and it looks exactly the same as Fallout 4 did, even though it's set so much earlier. Fallout 3 is a game that's set. So in the timeline, you have Fallout 1. We just talked about that. Fallout 1, you already have settlements that have formed, like not just settlements, but society is taking root again, and it's the distance between these places that is the problem.
Yeah,
this is where you run into problems. Fallout 2 takes place 80 years after that, in the year 2241, and by that point the NCR has formed, which is a nation. The NCR is a proper government. It's a nation. It is trying to annex other cities. Vault City is a thing there. You have New Reno. You're going all the way up to like Southern Oregon. And as far down as like literally the very bottom of California, and even into like the Baja Peninsula, is how far Fallout 2 takes place. And there is a legitimate society and nation in Fallout 2. In Fallout 3, so then you have tactics, and I'm not going to get into tactics because I haven't played tactics, and tactics canonicity is sort of like, some things I think from tactics are canon, and other things are like a little more muddy about it.
They seem to be pulling more. Sorry?
Bethesda has said that elements of it are canon.
Yeah, they seem to be pulling more from it lately.
Yeah. I know. So like the Brotherhood of Steel in Fallout 3, I believe, are supposed to be from the Brotherhood that's in tactics, if I'm not mistaken.
I think they walked across the whole U.S.
I think they were part of the like Zeppelin that crashed in tactics. Then they walked from Chicago through Pittsburgh. That's
Okay.
why we have the pit. And they
okay.
picked up so many initiates. And then they walked from Pittsburgh all the way to DC, which is why they're in the shape that they're in. They're all using T45 instead of T51.
Okay.
Because everything for them has kind of gone to shit. And that's why they've kind of gotten to DC and I think tried to make the wasteland a better place now, is because they've seen how terrible it really is. The problem that I have with 3 is, so when 3 came out, it's on a completely different side of the country and it's set in the nation's capital. It's totally believable that the capital of America would be hit so much worse than literally anywhere else in America besides maybe New York. So, and we also know that like there have been super mutants, for instance, running around for God knows how long trying to find more FEV. The Brotherhood only got there recently to try and fix things. But it still feels like it's supposed to be set around the same time that Fallout 1 would have been set, but it's taking place exactly 200 years.
Well, I
After the bombshell.
absolutely believe in the conspiracy theory that Fallout 3 was meant to take place earlier and it was changed along
Yeah.
with development. I've seen enough videos on that to be like, yeah, that all the evidence is definitely there.
It makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense than it being 2277 for sure.
Because yeah, it's like, you know, when you compare and contrast Fallout 3 to Fallout 1 and 2, it's like you have Megaton is obviously their version of Junktown. You have Rivet City. There are towns there, but everyone is still wearing like garbage rags and there's no industry. There's kind of Canterbury Commons where people are like actually dressed in like clothes, as opposed to just wearing rags. But you know, I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of Fallout 3.
Yeah.
Fallout New Vegas is a continuation of the story from Fallout 1 and 2, set a little more east in the Mojave Wasteland. And, you know, as we said before, that is maybe one of the most optimistic Fallout games about how society could recover. And like you said, it is about the post-apocalypse. It's about how society will recover after the apocalypse versus what the apocalypse does to society.
Right.
And after New Vegas, this is where I started to get jaded about Fallout, is when Fallout 4 came out, we go there, and the setup to Fallout 4 is that there was a government there called the Commonwealth Provisional Government, and there was a society there, but then the events of the game take place right after the Institute carried out some kind of terror attack. And for some reason, this one terror attack was apparently so powerful that it disrupted everything. And the Minutemen fell apart. I guess there was tons of corruption in the Minutemen. And people gave up on the idea of a unified wasteland. So I looked at Fallout 4 and I was like, they're insistent on making Fallout games where there is no society. You are just walking around in an enormous empty wasteland. And Fallout 4 was arguably, I think, worse than 3 because the towns there aren't even like nearly as fully fleshed out as the Fallout 3 towns were, in large part because you're supposed to walk around and build settlements. That's like
the settlements kind of threw off the world building.
Yeah. And like Diamond City is really the only town in Fallout 4 that feels like an actual town. I know there's Concord and is it Vault 81 and Covenant
and Good Neighbor.
There's Good Neighbor, but these are all smaller towns that aren't nearly as well fleshed out as like Rivet City or
Diamond City,
or Diamond City or Megaton even, and they feel more like Republics of Dave, where they're very tiny insular places. Yeah. They're just these like little tiny places where it feels like they were trying to make sure that if you didn't want to do the whole settlement building thing, there was still something in it for you, but they're barely fleshed out. at least not nearly as much as like Diamond City or something is. And they're certainly they at least didn't call to me in the way that I, obviously they've appealed to other players. But that gets into what you said about the destruction porn. Everywhere we go in Fallout since Bethesda has had it, except for New Vegas, everything is shit. And in season 1, when they blew up Shady Sands, the producers were asked, well, why is Shady Sands gone? And the answer to that was, well, we wanted it to feel more like the post-apocalypse.
Yeah.
So to me, it's just like that. That's not, you've clearly missed the point of those games. You just want to keep blowing things up. And so now we've gone to New Vegas. The very soul of New Vegas is like the societies that are in it. What made that game so great was the dynamic way that these factions, and the factions are in of themselves societies that have come back from the dead. The NCR, the Legion, the society that has come to exist within the greater Las Vegas area. Then, of course, you have the smaller towns like Novak and Good Springs. And there was, like, Camp Searchlight was a town before the Legion blew it up with the radiation bomb. There were towns there. I don't understand why they felt like it was so important for them to go to New Vegas as a location if they were just going to kill everything that made that game feel so special. Unless, and it just feels like they've gone to the location just to use the iconography of it.
Yeah.
To just be like, look, it's the Lucky 38. Look, it's Dinky the dinosaur. Look, it's Ranger helmets. Like, it's
here's Lucy shooting everything you loved about
yeah.
New
Look,
Vegas.
the king is dead, and like you said, yeah, New Vegas is a game where you influence the wasteland, and whereas the show is more like Lucy came out of the vault and she's really a goody two shoes. She so far, I don't think, me and Mysterious Stranger have talked about how, Lucy's eventually going to have to kind of come to terms with the fact that her experience, her life in the vault is this very curated life. It's not even like an American life. It is the most insular life somebody could possibly lead, is in this tiny bunker underground. And she's going to have to adapt to the wasteland at large. But they're not doing anything to improve the wasteland. They keep experiencing shit after shit after shit, and there's not been one single happy ending to anything where it feels like, and for that matter, every plot line, like there's no plot lines from season 1 that were open that feel like they've had any amount of conclusion in season 2. And granted, we're only halfway through season 2. And so these aren't my final opinions, but it's like at some point, man, you have to, you have to at least suture this wound and like finish a storyline and stop just opening new ones.
It's very, and I said this about season 1, it's very J.J. Abrams in its storytelling. It's all mystery box.
Yeah, the story's in the mystery box. Well, when you open the mystery box, what comes out, there's nothing in there. It's
what's cool in the moment instead of what makes sense over, the course of an entire story. Plot threads are going to get dropped because there's just not enough time to go back and close them all. That's the nature of this storytelling. If you watch the Star Wars sequels, it's the same thing.
Yeah. And that's really unfortunate because there are definitely going to be people who are, I wouldn't be surprised if, the water situation in Vault 33 and 32 will be one of those drop storylines, is because it's the least interesting out of all of them. And they're going to run out of time to be like, we just can't resolve this. And that's unfortunate because there are definitely a lot of people who to them, that's the most interesting thing to them, which sounds weird to say, but like a lot of people will want to know what happens with that.
I honestly, like the vault stuff and the stuff with Norm has always kind of been the most interesting to me because it is kind of siloed off from everything else, and it doesn't have to deal with the legacy of the stuff on the surface. So it can kind of be this like self-contained story. without the baggage of having to worry about, the history of the NCR or any of that other stuff.
Right.
So I've always kind of just been able to watch that stuff and take it at, at face value.
And yeah, not feel so critical of it. And
yeah, like the Norm storyline from season 1 was my favorite part of that whole first season.
I actually 100% agree with you. Norm was definitely one
was
of my
my
favorite
goat.
characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in large part because he's not the naive vault dweller that everybody else we see is. Like, he's a very intelligent person.
I feel
And
like this
Norm,
season we're not seeing him nearly as much.
yeah, and not nearly as much as I want to be seeing him. And I think a problem with that is, season 1, we weren't trying to a lot of like Maximus's story and the Ghoul's story was being told with Lucy. And now Maximus is a completely separate character who has basically to this point nothing to do with Lucy anymore. We're halfway through the season and they haven't even met up again.
Right.
And we don't even know, Maximus wasn't even shown in the trailer for the next episode. So when the fuck are they going to get together again? We have no idea. We know they're together in some of the trailers, and like there's, for instance, that NCR power armor, which I want to see how that's implemented before I make any conclusive opinions about it.
A lot of this could get. I was just thinking, like, a lot of this would get better for me if Uncle Rico's right and there really is like this big base of NCR guys around somewhere.
That would be would be awesome.
They kind of ride in like the Rohirrim in the Two Towers.
Yeah, that would be like that would be awesome.
And Uncle Rico's like, "See, I told you,
I told you, I told you."
Like, that would be cool, but I just don't feel like.
Yeah, Rico's so far one of my favorite characters from the season, which is weird saying, but his character's fun, and if he were right about that, I would definitely feel less jaded, a lot less jaded, if it was like, oh yeah, they came from Camp Forlorn Hope. That's where they were holed up, and they came from Camp Forlorn Hope, and they're riding in and they saved the day.
That would be cool. I would
definitely feel, because the destruction porn would finally be over.
Yeah.
And that is like my biggest complaint is, if you wanted to just have destruction porn, set it in a new area. Like we've seen the Enclave and they're way up north. We know there's shit up there. We've never seen like Seattle or something like that explored. If you wanted to destruction porn, set it up there. Don't set it in this place where, number one, there's 20 years of gaming history there where people are like, yeah, I want to, like, I love the NCR. I love the Brotherhood. I love the history that the Enclave has there. And like, there's this whole story that's already been told there. Why bother coming back and then annihilating all of that just to tell your story? I said this about season 1. I don't know. I think I said it in, I don't know if I ever posted the videos. I was doing a Fallout New Vegas playthrough, and I still have some of the videos on my hard drive that I haven't edited. And it was a long time ago. But I said in those videos, season 1 is good for what it is. In the larger context of the Fallout universe, I think it falls flat, and it doesn't tell nearly as interesting as the story as any of the other games do. And a lot of the stuff that it does to the world of Fallout, it does in service of itself rather than in service of the greater universe. And that takes away from everything. As its own individual show, it's fun. It's fantastic. But as a part of this larger thing, it's
real clumsy.
It's a great way of putting it. It's a very clumsy implementation.
I was telling you, I have friends that have only seen the show and they don't know anything else about the games, and they love the show, and they're like, well, what do you think about it? And I'm like, I'm talking to my Star Wars costuming people, and I'm like, let me put it to you in Star Wars terms. If somebody came up to you and said they love The Force Awakens, it's the only one they've ever seen, and they think it's great,
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Right.
It's like they watched The Force Awakens and they loved it and they thought it was a great movie, and it's fun, not in context of what came before it though. and the Fallout series is kind of the same for me in that sense. It's not. It's like you said. It's serving itself and not really serving the larger story.
Yeah. I know there's some Enclave stuff, and I want to give Mysterious Strange has been really quiet this episode. I want to give
That's because
him.
I'm such a big mouth. I'm sorry, Mysterious
Dude. I'm the worst yapper. I find myself in these episodes. I'm always yapping. I'm like, I can't just keep yapping. I have to.
Well,
people don't want to listen to me talk to myself. I
just want to get one more critique I had of this episode in before we go off on the Mysterious Stranger. I really liked Maximus. I up until this point, I was like, man, they've really fixed his character, and then he turned back into dumb Maximus from season 1 again. And I was like, what happened?
Kind of just running around and doing dumb shit.
Well, just the whole face off with him and Quintus, first of all, it went on too long and a lot of the tension kind of got sucked out of it. It got tedious to watch.
Yeah. Cause in that scene, Maximus is kind of sitting there whimpering, holding the gun the whole time. And it doesn't, literally, it went feels like a whole 60 seconds passes.
Yeah,
of him just saying, I couldn't, I had to kill him, and Quintus is just
why didn't you?
Yeah, so shoot him. You have you have a clearer shot. And he's like, he tells Dane after that, like, I'm sorry I didn't kill him. And Dane's like, you don't have to apologize for not killing somebody. I'm like, this is Fallout. No, Quintus is evil. Kill him.
But also that beat kind of rang hollow to me, where he said, like, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. That wasn't reading in the scene.
Right.
What read to me in the scene was that Quintus just kept talking to him and then pulled out a gun and he had to react and get out of there.
Yeah. I
never got this struggle that Maximus was going through. It didn't read that way to me. But
yeah, I know Maximus has been emotionally manipulated by him.
Sure.
But at this point, Maximus should understand that the Brotherhood of Steel, especially even within the greater context of the Fallout universe, like the most noble and honorable Brotherhood of Steel we've seen to this point has been the Commonwealth. In the current iteration of, obviously, Lion's Pride was actually, Elder Lyons was the best iteration of the Brotherhood that we've seen,
and they still kill ghouls on sight.
Yeah. Exactly. And by this point, Maximus should know
that.
By the time,
it shouldn't have come as a surprise.
You've heard Arthur Maxon's Brotherhood, the Commonwealth Brotherhood, you just saw Xander, who's apparently their emissary, the best they have to offer, come over. He's a paladin, and he's about to murk a whole bunch of children. And you go back and you're pointing the gun at him and you're waving it around in his face, but you can't shoot him? Why? Because he doesn't have kids in front of him that he's about to shoot? Come on, man. I have seen some people say they think Maximus is a low intelligence character.
That feels like start doing that stuff. I'm like, come on, this is not a video game. This is a TV show.
I enjoy.
The ghoul was fast traveling. That's another one I heard. I was like,
also, by the way,
he doesn't have a Pip-Boy.
Yeah, number one. Number two, even when you do fast travel in game, time passes. Stat effects wear off and stuff. It's not. You don't teleport. So
when people do that, they're writing for the writers.
Exactly, and that's And I want to say something about that. I'm gonna before we go into the Enclave speculation. I know Mysterious Stranger's interested in that. I want to give him the floor to speak, but in the context of writing for the writers, I cannot stand Bethesda's position on canonicity within these games of everything is going to be canon, and that means nothing is canon, and we want to respect everybody's headcanon. I cannot stand that way of them doing things, in large part because it feels like when you have New Vegas, you have this game with very unique, dynamic outcomes. You can make the Mojave Wasteland the most wonderful place in the world. You can make it the biggest shithole in the world. we are now revisiting the exact same location and seeing it in arguably maybe the second largest shithole it could possibly be. The only way it could be a worse shithole of this if the Legion controlled the whole thing and fucking crucified everybody.
Yeah.
But by not having any kind of canon outcome, it's almost like they're just telling the audience, we are, no matter what you do in the wasteland, no matter what you do, it will always be shit. No matter what. It's always going to be shit. And in that sense, it's like you're almost stripping the agency away from players when you say, you can fix the wasteland, you can make it awesome. Well, if you fast forward 15 years and everything is shit, and then you ask, well, why is it shit? How come it's shit? You know, like what happened in New Vegas that's canon that made everything so bad? And their answer is, oh, we don't know. Nothing.
Well,
That's it's just how it goes. And I understand that, like, everybody keeps saying, well, it's been 15 years, things can happen. But at that point, you're just saying, like, well, how come I can't know that story then? What happened there? Why does it have to be so fucking vague? Just tell me what happened. And when I go back and play New Vegas and I'm playing through it, and if you give me a canon ending and say, this is what happened in New Vegas and this is why everything is shit. When I'm playing, I'd be like, well, I don't want that to happen, so I'm going to do something else. Now it's like, it doesn't matter what you do because you know it's going to be shit no matter what. And I hate that. It annoys the piss out of me, and it feels like they're just not willing, you know, you have to crack some eggs to make an omelet. Crack some eggs and make a damn omelet, man. Quit like, you know, right now they're just throwing whole eggs in the pan and kind of shaking them around and being like, oh, isn't this delicious? No. So
at the end of the day, I think people wanted to see Lucy and the Ghoul like stop into the tops, play a little blackjack, have a little bite to eat, go on their journey. I don't think they wanted to see people, dead everywhere, gunning down the kings. Like, I think they wanted to see these characters pass through Vegas, rent Fisto for an hour, like just,
it would have been really funny to see Cooper talk to Beatrix. That would have been,
treat the place like a location rather than a shooting gallery.
Yeah, and it makes New Vegas feel so two-dimensional by doing that. And if they made it like that, and they were like, oh yeah, New Vegas is still a city, and there's people there, I wouldn't be nearly upset about this. No, everything is canon.
I think it'd be fine
of deal because everybody's fine, cool. That when I go back and I play, I'm like, yeah, I wonder what happened, but I'm going to do this. Now it's like, now when I'm playing it, it's this bitter taste in my mouth of like, they just kind of shit all over it and then told you it doesn't matter what you do because this is like, we wanted to respect your headcanon, and this is the result of your headcanon.
When I was reviewing episode 4, what immediately came to me was this world feels like what would have happened if there was no courier at all.
Yeah, this feels like the absence of anything happening. It's like everything went to shit, even though the whole point of being the player character in Fallout games is to prevent everything going from shit. And obviously you can role play and make everything shit if you want. Like you can do that in Fallout 1. You can't really do that in Fallout 2 because you can't side with the Enclave.
Right.
And you could still make things shitty, but in Fallout 3, you can plug the thing into you can plug the FEV into the water purifier.
Yeah.
You still have to side with the Brotherhood ultimately, but you can do Eden's dirty work, which is, in the context of Fallout 3, I think that's really funny that like the Enclave aren't actually as bad as Eden is. They're just kind of like supremo fascists, but in that sense, they're not trying to just murder everybody, but you can join Eden. But you can't
join Eden, but you can't
join the worst of the worst, but you can't join the not quite as good as bad. So that's a weird decision.
Well, I want to hear the Enclave.
Yeah, this is a good segue to
since we're talking about them.
So, Mysterious Stranger, if you want to talk about, I know you've been more interested in the Enclave than me and Mickey have kind of yapped it up.
Yeah, right. So, BioWagon pointed this out in the group chat the other day, and I disagreed with it massively. He said that he thinks the Enclave is behind everything, which I feel like that's the route they are going for. I feel like they are going to bring them back. They won't have them in season 1, and like they weren't destroyed in season 1. They were just doing the dogs and super mutants, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
they're kind of just there.
Yeah, so they will come back eventually. But for example, Biowagon said that they gave Hank the nuke, the training super mutants, which I can see. I could definitely see them having the same technology that Hank has. Definitely will try and
because
control them.
Vault-Tec and Enclave collaborated. We know they collaborated.
Yeah, definitely. It's just I want to see something new next season, something original, something away from the games, because
that's always been my issue.
I as you both said before, they're just destroying stuff for the sake of destroying it. They're ruining stuff we've built in the games. They're ruining canonical stuff, choices we can make. I just want them to go somewhere new we haven't seen before, expand the lore, maybe a new faction to go against. They have so much free will, but if they go back to the Enclave, I feel like that's a bit like
it's sort of
2D.
just retreading Fallout 2.
Or
it's
3.
just
or 3.
Yeah, and it seems like that's the way they're going. I agree. I agree with you, Mysterious Stranger. I absolutely think it's going to be that the Enclave is behind it all. But it's another one of those things that you see people arguing about online. They're like, well, the NCR was doomed. If you played the game, you would realize they were doomed. So the NCR can just completely go away because of a couple lines.
And also like,
from
I want to
people
point
that
out,
don't necessarily know what they're talking about.
Yeah, when you say that, you're saying that in the context of there was no player character there.
Right, that fixed some of these problems. But what I was getting at was, okay, so you're fine with the NCR going away, but the Enclave can be destroyed 3 times and just keep coming back.
Yeah, they were
like there's no issue there.
Yeah, they were blown up
in 2, blown up in 3 twice.
Blown up in, and not only that, but they also managed to kill themselves in 76.
Right.
So actually they've killed themselves. They've either gotten themselves killed or killed themselves 4 times. But
there's no issue there with them constantly coming back.
I would much prefer
NCR. We got to accept they were always doomed. But the Enclave, let's give them a 5th chance.
Yeah, and I want to say like this kind of,
or the Brotherhood for that matter.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say that. Like they have this hard on for. Like okay,
how is the Brotherhood feeding all these people?
Yeah, and like as like a meta narrative surrounding
all these blimps.
As a meta narrative surrounding, just Bethesda's game development journey as a whole. They had the Elder Scrolls, and they made a whole bunch of factions in like Arena and Daggerfall, and then Morrowind. Morrowind is where they transitioned over to their style of how they made games from, Morrowind up to Fallout 3, or if you want to include New Vegas in that, because it was like, made on the same sort of style of engine, I guess you could. And then they transitioned away from RPGs and started making more like action adventure games. But it seems like during that time span, they always kind of leaned on the same factions. Like you always had the Fighters Guild, you have the Thieves Guild, you have the Dark Brotherhood, and you keep seeing these reappear in stuff like Sky. Although in Skyrim, instead of the Fighters Guild, you have the Companions, but then you have like, just like basically recreations of the Mages Guild in the College of Winterhold. And the same thing is true of Fallout. Although instead of making it themselves just very early on, they inherited the Enclave, they inherited the Brotherhood of Steel, they inherited the NCR from Interplay. And for that matter, I guess you could say Black Isle Studio made the NCR, but and the Enclave. But you see that in their games, they do not do a good job now. And there's this. I recently saw a video, and I know I keep referencing Tim Kaine, but he's kind of like the godfather or the grandfather of Fallout.
Oh no, I watch his videos religiously. I know what you're talking about.
He has a video on institutional knowledge, which is that institutional knowledge has been lost over the years, and it seems like Bethesda has lost a lot of that institutional knowledge. Obviously, Todd Howard and I'm going to say Emil. That's how I've always pronounced it and heard it pronounced. I know some people say Emil. I don't know how he prefers to say it pronounced, but I'm going to say Emil. Emil Pagliarulo is still there, but so many writers and developers and artists have left Bethesda and come in. And I feel like that institutional knowledge they brought with them that helped them create those factions early on, even at Interplay, they don't have that anymore. And like when I played Starfield, the factions were so two-dimensional in Starfield and had so little depth that when I played that, I was just like, this doesn't feel like a world that Bethesda has that's rich. This feels like a theme park of like what they think space exploration genre should be. And I know people have said like Fallout 4 in some ways is like a Fallout theme park. We're exploring all the things that we think make Fallout, but without the actual depth that the RPG element provides. And I'm not going to comment too much on that, because I do think that Fallout 4 is still a good game. I do not think Starfield was a good game.
Honestly, I don't. They're the same to me.
I felt like at least
Fallout's
4
a better world space, but
yeah,
the games are the same to me.
Fallout 4 had at least like the crafting, the exploration, the salvaging.
Starfield doesn't make you build settlements.
Well, that's a funny thing is it does.
You can if you want, but you don't have to.
There's a lot of like resource collection that is kind of difficult to do if you don't have the bases that you're building. And
yeah, but you don't have to do it. You
don't have to do it to beat the game. That's true. But a lot of the things that I personally found to be really well done in Fallout 4, I felt like when I played Fallout or when I played Starfield, they just kind of felt absent. Like they just weren't there at all. And I understand like, and so when I say the institutional knowledge has been lost, a lot of what made the Brotherhood feel like a fleshed out faction in Fallout 4 was basically just leaning on stuff from Fallout 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
In Starfield, they had to start over, and
right.
There was no depth to it at all. It's like they just kind of assume that if you just put a face on something and give some characters to it and give them a pseudo ethos, that players will just glob onto it. And if you leave any holes in it, well, it's a Bethesda game. They'll just fix it with mods. And that's not at all what happened with Starfield. And I kind of fear that like their knowledge of world building has been lost with that. And so the direction, if any, that they're giving to Amazon has been, yeah, it's Fallout. It's supposed to be post-apocalyptic, destroy whatever you want and just make sure you run it by us because, we're going to be doing Fallout 5 here.
Yeah.
So it feels like there's genuinely something lost. And like with that, they do just keep leaning on the same factions. I know in Fallout 4, they introduced, they fleshed out the Institute. The Institute suffered from a lot of the same problems with being two-dimensional. And the Minutemen as well. The Minutemen faction as a whole existed only as Preston Garvey, so there was very little to go. The Minutemen was basically whatever you wanted it to be. But the Institute was genuinely had no direction, no it had no consistent motivation. Even Father will be like, we don't want anyone, we're not trying to mess with the surface. We just want the surface to leave us alone. But then they're sending synths out and replacing people and spying on everybody. It's
yeah, but none of it
is consistent. And then it feels like we're going into kind of that same realm with Fallout. Going back west is you already had all of this, but now maybe you've become so lost that even though all of this already exists, you are so lost with what to do with it that your only option to go forward is just, well, it's Fallout, destroy it.
It seems that way.
And it's part of the, I really do fear for the future of the franchise. Right now we're doing well because we have the show and people are coming in and, there's new fans, and as long as there's new fans coming in, then there's always going to be productive and constructive, engagement with a larger.
And hopefully we'll get those remasters too.
When we get the remasters, maybe people will realize why a lot of people prefer the older games to the newer games.
Right, because there's always going to be people, like Mr. You guys. I mean, you guys are like I said, you guys are around the same age as my kid. But you both went back,
Mm-hmm.
and you were like, "Oh, damn, this was actually really good," you know?
Yeah.
And
Even when
these
it's not
new
our style, we can
right,
recognize the
right.
validity that it had or what it did well.
So even these new people that are just watching the show and that's all they've ever seen, some of them, maybe 10% will go back and play New Vegas or play Fallout 2 and be like, "Holy shit,
Right.
this was great."
I think a Fallout New Vegas remaster is almost more necessary than a Fallout 3. So if you get Fallout Game of the Year edition, Fallout 3 Game of the Year on Steam, it actually runs on Windows not too bad.
Mhm.
It's still a Bethesda game, so it's buggy and it'll crash, but you can run it. Fallout New Vegas Ultimate Edition just straight up crashes constantly without modding the fuck out of it. And if you buy Fallout New Vegas on Steam, like if you're watching season 2 and you're like, everybody's complaining that they've adapted the New Vegas setting really poorly. Well, let me go see what they're talking about. And you go and you play New Vegas, unless you're willing to spend the time. Either you have to have Xbox One, in which case, good fucking luck getting all the DLC and stuff working on there, because it's supposed to be backwards compatible. I tried
It's
to
annoying.
it's so annoying to try and get it
You
to
can
work
do
on
it,
Xbox
but
One.
it does want to default to the
Vanilla.
Game Pass and vanilla. Yeah. You can do it though. I play on my Xbox Series X. I have New Vegas Ultimate Edition.
Yeah.
And every now and then you have to just kind of remind it that there's a disc in there that has the DLC on it.
That you do actually own that content and you can actually play it, and that you have the quote unquote digital license for playing it, which is just so annoying.
But I want to say about the New Vegas on PC. I've played it on Steam for years, and I don't get all these crashes that other people get. 4 GB patch fixes most of the memory issues. New Vegas anti-crash, that's pretty much all I don't like a lot of mods. I like the vanilla experience. I think the game is just fine the way it is. I
do as well.
I don't need to sprint.
Yeah, if anybody's watching, if you want a more modern experience for Fallout New Vegas and you're dealing with bugs and crashes, please, for the love of God, just look up the Viva New Vegas and it will give you an idiot-proof guide to make New Vegas not only run very smooth like butter on even Windows 11. It will run smooth like butter, which for an old PC Bethesda game is a fucking miracle. But also, it will introduce features like new. It's not shooting bullets like they're magic out of a wand that's shaped like a gun. It is actual gunplay. They're coming from the gun. They are. You have actual hip fire. You have actual. Like gun recoil animations, true iron sights, you have a better crosshair, you have way more functionality. It is even if you've played New Vegas in the past and you want a new experience, also download Viva New Vegas. And Viva New Vegas gives you a platform to download pretty much every single mod that's out there that's from the last, I want to say, 7 years.
Yeah.
And it'll run just fine. Like I have a Tale of Two Wastelands playthrough that I'm doing. If you're doing Tale of Two Wastelands, you do have to start over. I have Viva New Vegas and Tale of Two Wastelands on because Mod Engine 2 lets you have basically 2 separate files for the game that it'll run from, which is awesome. I'm getting into the nitty gritty of it now, but pick either Tale of Two Wastelands or Viva New Vegas. Follow the guides for them. They're idiot proof. Everyone thinks I'm good at computers. I'm not good at computers. I just know how to use Google. So Google them. Follow the guides, install them, and then you're cooking. And it's so much fun. But I do hope that we get a New Vegas remaster more than I want a Fallout 3 remaster, because I feel like a lot of people are going to go back and want to play New Vegas at this point, and they're going to start playing it. And we've already seen that from like when season 1 came out. They're like, I'm going to play New Vegas. Oh, I can't play it because it crashes. And then they give up. So I'd like to see a remaster, because then people will go, oh, New Vegas remaster, let me play that. And their first experience with the game is going to be, it's pretty, it's modern, but it's also it's not a remake where they change a bunch of shit. It's the game. And if they do it like they did Oblivion, it's going to be fucking phenomenal.
I just want to say that I have a video about how to use the 4 GB patcher on your Steam or good old games. New Vegas install. So
Go, yeah.
if you don't
So-
want a lot of mods and you just want the closest to vanilla experience without the crashing, go check out those videos. Sorry, shameless self-promotion.
No, go ahead. Promote all you want. Because at least it's productive, right? Like,
because I know
play these
people that
games.
are getting into the games. Like I said, friends of mine that are not gamers, they just know the show and they try to play New Vegas, and people you got to go to next, and they don't want to hear. They don't want to do mods.
Mm-hmm. They just want to,
It's
like
too
plug and play. I just
complicated.
want to play the game.
4 gigabyte patcher is a lot easier than doing, and setting up NVSE and everything else. It's just the simplest thing you can do to have the least amount of crashes and still have that vanilla.
If I'm not
experience.
mistaken, you don't even need to download anything to do the 4 gigabyte patch. You can go into the games.
You just download the
can go into
patch
your
and then install it into your folder.
Yeah. And
that's it.
I think, if I'm not wrong, aren't you able to just go into the script itself and like the TXT file and modify it yourself?
You don't have to do that for the 4 gigabyte patcher, but I mean, you can do that.
So yeah, there you go. You don't even have to. You could have New Vegas downloaded on your computer.
Yeah,
not have an internet connection, or fuck it. Like, you can be living in the middle in a nuclear bunker without internet, and if you can get a connection on your phone to look up what line of text you need to change to do that, you can change it. It's not hard. You can do it. I promise. I believe in you. As far as the Enclave stuff goes, I agree. I want to see new factions. I want to see that. I want so bad to see them do new stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've always wanted, and we never get it.
I know, and it's always like they just lean between Fallout 3, Fallout 4. When Fallout 76 was coming out, I was like, oh, wait a second.
And
when I heard about it, it was like,
they still
it's
managed to get the Brotherhood in there. I was like,
and the Enclave, and I was like, dude, this is literally on the opposite side of the country before any of this other stuff took place.
But the Enclave at least made sense,
right? Because it's the U.S.
government, and Washington D.C.'s right there, about an hour, 2 hours away.
Mm-hmm.
That at least made sense. But the Brotherhood, again, I was like, come on, man.
Yeah, and their I shouldn't say excuse. Their rationale for it was that Roger Maxson reached out to them.
Mm-hmm.
And started talking to them. I was like, can we just do something original? Can you guys come up with something original? And it's just like they're like, nope.
But I mean,
Brotherhood.
Do people love the Brotherhood
that much? Yeah. I get Mysterious Stranger. You joined between the three of us. You definitely kind of started later. How do you feel about? Because if I don't want you to feel like we're just shitting. If you like these things, I want you to feel like we're telling you like your opinion is wrong.
Yeah.
I hope you don't feel like that.
Probably is.
No, don't worry.
How do you feel about like them constantly revisiting these old facts? I know you said you don't want to see the Enclave. How do you feel about what they do with like the Brotherhood basically being like the pseudo point of view faction? I guess now they're at least kind of making them into villains, but they're still really crutching on them. How do you feel about that?
I don't like it. I got introduced to the Brotherhood as like Elder Maxons from Fallout 4, like that militaristic sort of like they want to purify the wasteland from all abominations, quote unquote. That was a big shock when I went to the older games and seeing that, and I thought that was good. I liked how one side of the country fought differently. That they were quite like more religious compared to the East Coast, which are a lot more militaristic, a lot more powerful. Like they could wipe anything out if they really wanted to. But I don't want to see them in everything. Same with the Enclave. I want new things. Like I know they have a big presence in the wastelands. Like they're basically all over the place. But I want there can't just be only the Brotherhood of Steel. There has to be some other group out there.
It makes it feel really small too. I was thinking about this in the shower yesterday, and I just remembered it. I should have written a note down. What happened to the followers of the Apocalypse?
Yeah, big time.
Where are they?
They've been around since Fallout 1, and they are nowhere
in
on
Fallout
this show.
1 too. They were the guys who were like, like they weren't just like the pussy followers that we see in New Vegas, where they're like, we're just trying to make sure that the people of Freeside are at least alive. They're like, in in Fallout 1, they're like, we've infiltrated the Master's cult.
Yeah, they have spies.
We're going to blow them up. Can you help us? And you're like, fuck yeah, I'm here to fucking kick the Master's ass.
The followers help you way more than the Brotherhood does.
Yeah. the only thing the Brotherhood does in Fallout 1 is like help you learn that the mutants are sterile.
And another thing, in Fallout 2, the Brotherhood is hardly in it.
Yeah.
And really, they're only there to get stomped by the Enclave, so that you're like, holy shit, the Enclave is really bad because they just stomped the Brotherhood.
And the Brotherhood was like, they were tough.
That's what they're there for. They're just there to be the person that looks, to make the Enclave look good.
And then in Fallout New Vegas, we learned that between the NCR and the Brotherhood, over the fallout between, with the Enclave taken out of the picture, that they went to war over the Enclave's technology. And we find them hiding in a bunker because Elijah ran off looking for super weapons. And they're like, oh my God, the NCR is going to kill us if they find out where we are. Yeah. We have to stay underground. I kind of feel like...
So imagine my shock and surprise when the show starts and the Enclave and the Brotherhood are just acting with impunity.
Yeah. And it's so bizarre because I think... I do wonder if this all started with Tactics, where they needed a spin-off game. And they're like, well, how do we do a spin-off game without using any of the big factions from the original game? Because we don't want to, like, steal from that story. They're like, oh, the Brotherhood of Steel. They're like a tiny faction. They're just kind of off to the side. Granted, like, they're like the Brotherhood of Steel is pretty much on the cover of Fallout 1, which is funny. But it's like,
you can definitely blame Tactics for...
Yeah, Tactics started that, and then you have Fallout Brotherhood of Steel, which just went like...
I mean, you can blame Interplay for putting the Brotherhood front and center.
But those are spin-off games.
Yeah, but...
Which are supposed to be like, these are like, they're not important games to the whole universe. Maybe they will be later if we ever decide to go this far, but I don't think Interplay expected Fallout to ever be the size. I don't think Interplay ever expected any games that they did to become like mainstream household, like you talk about this shit at the dinner table, unless you work on games yourself. But like, I don't think they ever thought that like, oh yeah, fucking, Tony, who's 11 years old, and his family, who are, working 9 to 5s and his stay-at-home mom, and like none of them have anything to do with video games, are going to be talking about Fallout. Like that would have been a totally alien concept to them back then.
I'm just wondering. I don't know. It might just be because of where I live, in LA, and I'm constantly going out to Las Vegas. I just feel like New Vegas has more cultural purchase with the fandom. Mm-hmm. I see.
No, I agree, 100%.
I see more I live in Ohio. Vegas okay, so what's the cosplay? Are you seeing? Because I mostly see New Vegas with pockets of other things.
I still have to go. So I'm going to Fan Expo Cleveland. I only became a part of like the community, not just the fandom, but like the community that engage a lot very recently. I have not been to very many conventions, if any at all. You could barely call them conventions. However, over here in Ohio, it's still Fallout New Vegas is the favorite game of everybody that I talk to. And any cosplay I see, I want to say the NCR Ranger is one of the most cosplayed characters fucking ever.
Yeah, I would agree. So my point is then, where are all these Brotherhood of Steel stands that that Bethesda seems to be?
Bethesda's making me feel schizo with the way that I'm like, everybody loves the NCR, and they're like, we fucking killed them.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
That was unnecessary, but all right. Like, I would have. It kind of sucks that like too we didn't get to see. So Fallout New Vegas sets up the Great Fall, right, where they're spread too thin. The war for Hoover Dam is considered unfavorable, and everybody in New Vegas who's from the NCR says that NCR means well, but they're really running a shit show. And they've kind of started to lose their way. And the player character can come along and kind of start to solve these logistical issues. Even people like Chief Hanlon wants them to get out of Vegas. That's why he's sabotaging it, because he wants them to go back.
Yeah.
I think Vault City too. I think this references to like Vault City isn't happy being a part of the NCR.
Right.
They're regretting their decision to join. And on the home front, people talk about how like comparing the Legion to the NCR, because obviously as a player, you might be thinking, why would anybody want to side with the Legion? They're obviously the bad guys. And they'll say, well, as a trader, I can travel through Legion territory and do trade with them and not have to worry about being hit by raiders. Whereas if I'm traveling through NCR territory, I got to keep that thing on me because who knows what's going to attack me. The NCR doesn't protect their roads the same way. So they at least tried to flesh it out, but they've made it clear NCR is too big to protect itself. And I think they could have done something with that. But the fact that they just went straight for the throat at Shady Sands and that essentially meant that the NCR completely disappeared is really unfortunate. And I would think that in New Vegas, the ending in my head that I have is like the Yes Man ending where you've just chosen to interact with as few factions as possible. And you have just essentially speed ran the game through House or through Yes Man. And then the NCR has been completely wiped out. But even if that was the case, the NCR camps, I would imagine, would still have like stragglers or survivors there. And instead, it's just like, no, everything is a ghost town except for apparently these two rangers and a trooper that are holed out somewhere between Prim and Nipton.
Yeah. That's
Or
what I
maybe
mean.
by,
Like the
Hidden
show
Valley.
feels like the courier never came along at all.
Yeah.
And that it was just an extrapolation of what would have happened in New Vegas had the courier not intervened.
And that being said, I'm still enjoying the show and I'm excited for episode 5 to come out. I want to see what happens with Lucy. And I'm hoping, I can sit down and say like, oh yeah, I enjoyed this episode. I think this was a great episode for the show. But then, like I said, only so much so that I don't try and relate it to what's happened in Fallout previously.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like I watch the show. I can't say I'm loving it. It's fine. It's kind of the way I feel when I watch like your average Disney Star Wars show.
Yeah, on Disney
like,
Plus, where they're like, we
it's
launched
fine.
something. Yeah,
It's like Book of Boba Fett, fine. You know what I mean? Mandalorian season 2, fine. Like,
yeah,
when
I would put it in.
Andor,
Yeah,
Andor was like a religious experience. Like I cried. Like I never feel that way watching.
and
the
Andor
Fallout
did something
show.
original too.
Yeah.
Andor was like they took
Plus,
a
it was
new
just a
spin on it.
beautifully well told story.
Exactly.
This show isn't. It's like here's the thing from the games, and we're just putting it in a slightly different context. So yeah, it's like passably fun. It's not. It's not great TV. It's not like season 1 of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, and one of the things
not The Wire.
I talked about was I was thinking about a title for this. I've just put a new banner up. Peak adaptation or fan service slop, and I feel like we're starting to lean towards fan service slop.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a little more. That's a little more extreme than I would go. I feel like things. I feel like everybody sees the world as it's either the best thing ever or the worst thing ever, and it's just fine for things to be okay.
I think too. There's a lot of people online who are obviously we all have our opinions, and I think most of us have pretty. I'm not going to use the term lukewarm because lukewarm inserts a sort of negative connotation. We have pretty mild opinions of the show. Like it's
compared to some that I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah. Some people are saying it's the worst thing ever. I'm like, no.
Yeah. It's like, come on.
As far as TV adaptations of games go, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
But when there's a lot of people online who are like keyboard warriors who are like very, I'm going to use the word toxic positivity, where you are not allowed, like if they see you criticizing something that they like or they feel like somebody worked on that, how dare you say you didn't like it? It's like, oh shit. So I do wonder if there's a lot of people who are kind of maybe timid of getting involved with that, and so when they get involved with a conversation about the TV show, you're like, yeah, the TV show's good, I love it, it's great. And it's like,
no, I think there's a lot of peer pressure to like or dislike things.
Especially because within kind of Fallout, you had Fallout 4 and Fallout 76, and these are two games that people really didn't like. And then, of course, there was those 3 years where it was like, it was either you liked Fallout 3 or you liked Fallout New Vegas, and if you liked one, you weren't allowed to like the other, and if you said you liked both, you were a pariah.
Right.
And people, I still feel like that attitude is pervasive into it, it's still bleeding its way into the current discourse. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that it's like Bethesda. Okay, so Bethesda released Fallout 4 in 2015. That was the last RPG. Then they released Fallout 76, which was the one of the most shit MMOs ever released up to that point. Like, it was bad. And then, yes, they spent time trying to fix it, but the damage was already done to the brand. It has now been 7 or 8 years since we've had a Fallout game, and it's been more than 10 since we've had a Fallout RPG. The Fallout show is like the first mainstream thing. Like, obviously, Bethesda does expansions for 76. I would not call those new, quote unquote, new releases. Like, Starfield is a new release from Bethesda. I'm not going to call Burning Springs this big, especially because Burning Springs, I've heard people call it like it's a big release for Fallout 76. I played it, I beat it. I did not think it was that big. And
that's what I've heard.
It really left. It wasn't horrible, but it left a lot to be desired. So I think they're supposed to release something else for it in the future. But
I haven't
Fallout
tried Burning Springs.
Yeah, like Fallout for years has been in this like state of almost, I don't want to call it abandonment, but like Bethesda has had their eyes everywhere else but Fallout. And you can see that in the way that, when this show came out, it's almost like they really didn't believe in it doing well because they had nothing ready for the show. And then when the show did really well, they went into 76 and they're like, all right, we got to put something together and capitalize on this as much as possible. But, no contracted spinoff game, no nothing. It's just like, here's the show. And this is the only thing that we have going. So I think a lot of people are also saying, I like it. I love it. It's great because they really want to like it regardless of the actual quality because it's the only thing they have.
I agree with that. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think people are starved for Fallout, especially something new or newish. I think Bethesda's always kind of punched above its weight. It seems like it's this huge gaming company because it's had these outsized hits like Oblivion and Skyrim and Fallout 4.
And Fallout 3 too, even.
And Fallout 3. And Fallout New Vegas sold a ton of copies too. I mean, just a few less than 3, actually.
Yeah. I'm sure by now it's probably sold more.
It's probably surpassed it by now. Yeah. But so people have this like impression that Bethesda's this huge company like Activision, and it's like they're not. They have this small building in Maryland. I've been to it.
Skyrim was made by a team of 100 people, was it not?
I mean, it's like they're not that big, and they can't do everything that they want to do and keep a good time cycle of these games. And the reluctance to farm out a new, Fallout title to a different studio to me is baffling. And I don't know why Xbox is letting them get away with it.
Yeah.
It's kind of shocking to me.
I've seen a lot of people who, number one, I've heard, and I'm not like, I love the games, but I'm not like digging around in every single little interview that there is. I've heard through the grapevine and through rumors and what people say is that Microsoft is not happy about the fact that there is really no tie-in Fallout. Like, Amazon is doing obviously extremely well because of Fallout, but Microsoft owns ZeniMax and Bethesda and Obsidian, and nothing is happening on their front. So it's like Bethesda, like, I can only imagine if you're in charge of like overseeing Bethesda's operations within the larger, Microsoft ecosystem of gaming, and you're watching one of your main competitors in the, like online space, which is Amazon, running away with a title that you bought and they're making all the money, and the studio that's supposed to be making you money is like, I don't know. I can only imagine how fucking frustrating that must be.
It's insane to think that. I mean, we're almost at the end of this console generation, and it's going to have gone by without a single new Fallout title.
Or Elder Scrolls.
Or Elder Scrolls. It's pretty shocking, actually.
It is. I think honestly, what's more shocking is that another Elder Scrolls, like Elder Scrolls 6, there's a real possibility that it might not even come out this decade.
Yeah.
And I remember like there was a point in time where Todd Howard joked that Elder Scrolls 6 was such a big undertaking for them that they were like they made a joke where it was like, haha, wouldn't it be crazy if it didn't come out until like 2020? And that was in like 2018.
Yeah.
And fast forward
to 2026,
and we're still like, Todd Howard went up there last year for I forget what it wasn't GDC. E3 doesn't even exist anymore. I forget what it was that I think it was the Game Awards. He went up for Todd Howard went out for the Game Awards, and everybody was like, oh my god, it's the Game Awards. We're going to hear about Elder Scrolls 6. This is how they're going to announce this is where they're going to announce here's a clear schedule. Here's a trailer. Here's what's going to happen. And he said like fucking 15 words and then walked off stage.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, are you serious? And so to me, I'm thinking, okay, Bethesda's way bigger than it used to be. They have way more pressure on them to do something. They have essentially Amazon is the only thing that's really doing it for them. They've been making a lot of money through like merchandise for Fallout, but
that's it. Yeah, I was saying this to somebody the other day. There's a joke about Harley Davidson.
Mm-hmm.
Harley Davidson is a clothing brand that happens to sell motorcycles. And you can say the same thing about Bethesda. Bethesda is a clothing brand that happens to sell video games. I mean, they're more into selling the Fallout lifestyle than they are to actually making games now.
I said that. So I've said that I think I've said something to that effect in the Fallout, in the group chat that we kind of all go into when we're looking for, some collaborative support with projects that we want to undertake.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about stuff that we're doing. And I think I said in there once, like, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the money that goes into like keeping 76 running is from the merchandising that they do. That Fallout 76 it could be like a very real scenario that maybe Fallout 76 funds itself, but not enough to keep funding projects that they need to do outside of that. Like, where did the money for Starfield come from? That was in development hell for 8 years. Where did the money from that come from? I do wonder if like a lot of or now Elder Scrolls, like I don't think Starfield sold enough copies. Because a lot of people got Starfield on what's it called? Game Pass.
Yeah.
It wasn't on PlayStation, and I haven't checked player count on Starfield, but I know it's not high.
No.
And I don't think that game could fund what they needed to do Elder Scrolls 6. So I think like the merchandising that they do for Fallout, as much as I joke about it being slop merchandise, it is 100% necessary for them as a company to keep
It might
going.
be slop, but I'll buy anything from New Vegas. I'm a fool. I'm an absolute sucker.
There's stuff like I've bought bottle caps. Though I know the Wand Company is doing, they did the TV show replica Pit Boy. I have
one right here.
My wonderful, amazing, beautiful girlfriend got me that for my birthday. And nice. I have that on my desk. It's on my shelf. It's actually on display right next to my Courier battle helmet and right behind the Lone Wanderer. I have like I made a custom 1/6 scale Lone Wanderer in the winterized combat armor from Fallout 3. And it is right behind that with the Ghoul and Benny and a bunch of my other Fallout figurines. And also like I'm an action figure collector. That's my big hobby. Okay. McFarlane came out with those Fallout figures, and I was
I've got the Ranger.
I bought them all.
I'm in the process of getting all of them.
All of them.
These are like my infinity stones, man. I need all of them, and I probably keep buying them even after I have all
Yeah, I
of
know.
them.
So I mean,
to
at the
make
end of the day,
customs.
we're all suckers. We're all going to keep coming back
Yeah,
to this stuff.
I clown on Bethesda a lot, but I still love Bethesda, and I want them to do well because they make
Same.
shit that I love. And so this is why, to explain why we give Bethesda so much shit a lot of the time, it's because we love them. And when we see them doing dumb shit, where it's not like
Exactly.
you see
I
a
don't give
slop
Activision
company.
shit because I don't care about them.
Yeah, like I don't talk about Call of Duty because everybody knows Call of Duty's a dog shit thing, and like if they go the way of the dodo and they're fucking extinct, I'm like, I don't give a shit. They
Yeah.
made garbage. They haven't made a good Call of Duty since Black Ops 2. Maybe you like some of them, but I think most people can agree, like, for the most part, all the Call of Duties have kind of been like copy and paste slop.
Yeah.
And Bethesda made great games. I mean, Skyrim's not even a very great RPG, but it's a fucking phenomenal adventure game. And I can still boot up Skyrim to this day and go and, it takes a while between playthroughs because, like, there's so much to do in Skyrim. And, if I spend too long in that game, eventually I'll get burnt out. But that's true of any game. It's a fucking awesome adventure game. And I want to see their next big fantasy adventure game. Like, that's what made Skyrim great. It was just a generic fantasy adventure game. I want to see them do that. But when they keep being like, oh, like you don't even have an announcement date for it, that's concerning. And I see I saw them do an interview recently where they said, they were asked how's Elder Scrolls 6 going, and they said their response, I think Emil's response or Todd's response, one of the two of them said it's going.
Yeah.
That does not necessarily inspire confidence in me that Elder Scrolls 6 is on the right track right now, especially after Starfield came out and all those rumors came out about now that they're moving into pre-production, like they're moving out of pre-production or rather Starfield released and they still weren't done with pre-production for Elder Scrolls 6 was the kind of the rumor. They still weren't sure about the direction they wanted to take it in. And there was a lot of people now who have left Bethesda, both artists, writers, just regular programmers and developers who are meant to put this stuff together. And they've all said, like, a big problem with Bethesda Studios right now is that it lacks in direction. So when I'm giving them shit, it's not because I think Bethesda's a shitty company. I want them to do well, but they are not doing well right now.
Yeah.
And it's hard to hear, but sometimes you have to hear it.
Yeah.
And
they're a lifestyle brand right now.
Yeah. I mean, they
I like the Indiana Jones game a lot, though. I know it wasn't them, but I enjoyed that.
Star Wars is kind of in the same kind of area right now. I mean, I know Andor was great, but Andor was sort of a niche show. It didn't have the same like breakout market appeal that most of the movies or like Mandalorian did.
Right. Yeah, Mandalorian was real big with the normies.
Yeah. Now it's been 4 years since Mandalorian had its since it was big and Star Wars has kind of fallen back into the niche of, unless you're a collector, Star Wars is definitely just like a lifestyle brand at this point. Like, I have Star Wars shirts. I have the Star Wars jacket. I have Star Wars bumper stickers. But outside of that,
yeah, and I feel like Fallout's kind of in danger of doing the same. But
yeah,
guys, I just realized what time it was, and
it's I for you, it's probably not as late as it is. I know for Mysterious Stranger, it's got to be like fucking like 3 a.m. or something.
It's 20 past 1 in the morning.
Okay.
I had a great time. Fallout family, if you want to plug your stuff real fast, I know you've got a lot of stuff going on.
Well, we make a Fallout series called The Courier and the Sole Survivor. We have 2 seasons. There are 21 episodes a piece. Each episode's like 1.5 to 2 minutes long, so they're fast. We have you can find them on YouTube, on Instagram, or on TikTok. Also on our Facebook page. So we're not hard to find. We're pretty much whatever the thing is / the Fallout family. That's the easiest way to find us. and we are going to be working on the Courier and the Sole Survivor season 3 this year, and hopefully I will have it done in time for the next Fallout fan celebration in Good Springs at the end of this year.
Hell yeah, man. Mysterious Stranger, if you want to plug your stuff, now's the time to do it.
Of course. All my socials are the exact same. It's just The Mysterious Stranger. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, but I think that's just missed Strange because they wouldn't let me have the full name. And yeah, YouTube especially. I've got some big videos coming out soon. I've been saying this for half a year, but I've got one in the chamber ready.
I'm the same way, man. I have so many on my hard drive that I need to edit. I keep telling myself every weekend, I'm like, this is the one you're going to edit. And I get sidetracked. Speaking of which, obviously I do this. There's also my Instagram. I have a backlog of cosplay stuff. And now that I'm back I got my resin printer working again. Now that I have my resin printer working, I'm going to go back to doing Fallout customs and posting that more. And I'm going to be trying to do some stuff. My girlfriend just got a new shelf for her. She has a lot of like Harry Potter stuff. So I might be printing some stuff for her shelves to help fill them out, some scenery there. So if you're interested in stuff like that, action figures, customs, cosplay, I do that at _Mojave_mailman on Instagram. You can find me there. If you're watching this, you already know my YouTube. And I promise I'm trying to go back to editing the videos. I really want to. I promise I'm going to do it. So catch us there. We're going to be here next week, probably the exact same time as usual, unless we have a guest that has a little more, who needs a little more flexible schedule. In that case, keep an eye on the Instagram because that's where I'm going to post it. And until next time, we'll see you guys then. Take care.